Ah, yes, he is. Smoke Dog. Yes, he is.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Overreaction Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, and thanks for starting your week off with us. Just some business to take care of here. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller _ Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. Pretty good, all in all. Had a lot of daughter things to do, but yesterday I had a couple of friends over. Buddy of mine got into a little car wreck, so he'd been not feeling good, hadn't been out of the house, so we got him out for a little bit to watch some football and eat some food. So it was nice to watch football with people. Although, you know me, I can do it with people. I can do it on the couch alone. Doesn't really make a damn bit of difference in the end.
Right.
But the witching hour, as they say, between 3:30 and 4 was pretty spectacular yesterday. Saturday was terrific throughout the day. And wow, what a football weekend.
Yes.
Time for an Overreaction Monday. I mean, there's a lot to react to from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
You know, sometimes we get a little too keyed up. Sometimes we over tout a football weekend, and we built this one up pretty highly. And we really built up the NFL Sunday and said, we have got some games lined up for you. I think the day was better than we said it was going to be.
Yeah, we put a lot of stock into what Sunday was going to be. We really say this is a big Sunday, and it delivered. It flat out delivered.
After Alabama getting beat at home in a game that, well, how much does it change things in the SEC, in the college football playoff picture? We'll have that to debate, and we'll be curious tomorrow night when the new rankings come out and what it is the committee has decided.
But, the one thing I was sure of, David, is that the Jags were not going to be able to recover from that god-awful fourth quarter in Houston. That was it. They were done, David.
Mark, you got a lot of things right this weekend. You had a winning week on your picks, all right? You talked up certain players and certain games on Saturday and Sunday, and you got an awful lot of things right. You got one big thing wrong.
Wow. I think the Jags just scored again.
And it was the Jags. Say it, Mark.
Jags. Go get them. Holy cow. J.P. Shadrick, I'm sorry. Trevor Lawrence, I'm sorry. Liam Cohn, I'm sorry. Mr. Khan, I'm really sorry.
I still want to work with you, sir.
In any capacity whatsoever. I can be in Jacksonville, hell, by 2:00 today to sweep some floors if you need it. I'm good. It's on me. I apologize. In fact, if you want me to pick you up at the Naples airport with your jet, I'm there for you, okay?
Sir, it was just an opinion, okay? I follow orders. Don't worry about it. But, yes, they said they played honked off.
Boy, did they ever.
At which point, what do we have to do to get him to play honked off about 7 more times? My goodness. Did the Chargers get a first down yet? Hello?
Wow.
they saw their bye week coming up, and they're like, let me get this straight. We got to fly all the way to Jacksonville. We got to play at a 10 a.m. start our time. Let's just start the bye early. Those guys will be in a bad mood. We're just tired. We want a week off. Man, 8 first downs, less than 150 yards of offense. That's tough to do in the modern day football. Damn.
It really is. I mean, the Rams ended up winning, but this was the Rams' second quarter for 4 quarters.
Right.
Because the Rams ran, by the way, wait for it. The Rams ran 3 plays in the second quarter yesterday. Do you know how hard that is to do in an NFL game these days? And they still made the Chargers look bad. I mean, wow. What a job by the Jags. That's there were so many great games, so many different directions to go in, David. But what the Jags did to the Chargers yesterday, no, I didn't see that coming at all.
6 games decided by the last play of the game. Think about that. Think about that. There were 13 games played yesterday, and 6 of them came down to the final play, and not all of them were winning plays, mind you. That doesn't include other games in which defenses had to make a stand in the final minute. Like in Cleveland, like in New Jersey. But 6 games coming down to the final play yesterday. Wow, was it a compelling day. Mark, it was the kind of day in which, if I could have, I would have grabbed a buddy of mine and head to a Vegas sports book and spent the whole day in the sports book watching the 1 o'clock and the 4 and 4:25 NFL games. I mean, that's if I was in Vegas. Wait a minute. Where am I? Holy smackers, I'm in Vegas. Wow. So that wasn't a dream yesterday. That really happened. Man, think of how good yesterday's NFL was. Imagine watching it in a sports book in Vegas.
Now you're just rubbing it in.
Hey, 2:08 a.m. wake-up calls. I got to have a little bit of fun. Come on.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. I will give you that.
Whew.
Here's my question, David, because, you and I every week give our picks against the number.
So,
David, if I have this right in front of me, you had 5 NFL games on your ticket.
I did.
How many of those games did you bet at the sports book?
None. I spent 6 hours at a sports book and didn't place a bet. And
did
had
your buddy that was with you make fun of you for that, or did he understand?
No, he totally understood. He didn't make a bet either.
No?
Of course, he went to the Bellagio last night and played 6 hours of poker.
Okay.
All right, but nope. Now, he had placed a couple bets before the game started, but we did no live betting, and we didn't, while watching the early games, place some bets on the late games. But, Mark, you and I have talked about wanting to come out to a Vegas sports book for March Madness, one of the first 2 days of the tournament. Well, yesterday, it's about as compelling from a sports betting standpoint as NFL Sundays could go when the huge roar went up when Seattle scored a touchdown, their only one of the game, with less than 3 minutes to go. And I just looked at my buddy and I go, so what's more exciting? The final play to win or the late grunter to cover? He goes, the late grunter. He goes, look around you. This place was built on late grunters. But for those that wonder and are watching on Twitch or on YouTube, I'm at the Conrad, kind of like the far end of the Vegas Strip. All right. It's near Trump. It's near, I believe, Fontainebleau, Circus. It's kind of on, it's near the convention center. But I don't know if it's the north end or the west end or the east. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't seem like there's much more hotel and casino action once you get past here. Okay. There is a famous breakfast joint, though, which is literally a 3-minute walk, okay, around the corner, which
will you be heading there before your nap when you finish the show this
yes,
morning? You do breakfast and then a nap?
Yes, we're walking to the Pepper Mill, meeting a friend, okay, having breakfast, walking back, and then it'll be a good 3-hour nap. Yes, it'll be awesome.
Well, South Florida, North Florida did well. The west coast of Florida, well, they went up to Buffalo and got whacked. Good game, got whacked late.
And Mark, I could argue the biggest football game involving the west coast of Florida was Saturday afternoon in Annapolis. And the South Florida Bulls defense did not rise to the occasion.
Not even close. Not even close. The offense kept scoring. The offense kept giving them opportunities. The offense said, hey, we're here. We can win. Get us a stop. One. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And now the South Florida Bulls are on the outside of the American playoffs and really with no way to get in. With the teams that are ahead of them, it seems like a pipe dream for the Bulls to get to the American playoff. A lot would have to happen. A lot would have to happen. I don't see it. And so their opportunity squandered.
Such a shame. A season that has had so many high moments, some tremendous wins, but man, oh man, could not get a stop when you needed one. You were a stop away from going to the playoff.
And they couldn't do it. We'll look back at what was just a terrific weekend of football, both Saturdays and Sundays. We talked a lot of Sundays there. Ramifications of what happened on Saturday, well, we'll see. Because we talked a lot about Texas getting a split. Were they beaten badly enough that does a split matter anymore with Oklahoma winning? A lot to digest from what was a terrific football weekend. And, oh yeah, by the way, your Miami Dolphins were winners in one of the most boring football games of the weekend. It was so bad that they decided to play extra football in Spain for those that paid the money.
Well, we figured we got to make up for the first 60 minutes somehow, at least give them a little something extra. They'll think maybe this wasn't so bad. All the money all these fans paid for this. I don't know. Let's throw in a turnover. Let's throw in, a soccer-like celebration. All right. Let's give them some football with their football. Miller and Moulton, the starting 5 in 25 minutes.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want.
Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our Diamond event, November 21st through 23rd.
This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Tacori.
This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping.
More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd. Only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, congratulations. Huge win. You root against the Chiefs. Because you don't want them making the playoffs. Paul, in what way are they in big trouble? I mean, they're not going to be the 1 seed, but, besides that, how are they in big trouble?
Well, who are they going to catch? Because San Francisco's making the playoffs.
Trying to make sure his identity wasn't just based on his results on the golf course. Smalley, third from the penalty area on the 7th. Be careful. Be careful. This is going to come back, and hopefully that rough will grab it. And at 10, he's on the 17th, and that's going to go back in the water. Big mistake there. Huge mistake. That's the club fly after that.
That's a club throw.
That's outstanding.
That's a club throw right there. That's a helicopter. That is gone. So it's going to have to be, Michael. It's going to have to be the Packers or the Bears. The Bears still have a tough schedule ahead of them.
Adam, the Jags are not a big ratings draw.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. All right. I don't want to be glass half empty guy. I don't want to be Eastwood on the porch. I really don't. This was a really fun, terrific football weekend. It was. It was. The coaches constantly going for it on fourth down and not taking points, particularly in the first half of games, is driving me nuts. You get 10 to 12 possessions a game. Most games nowadays are 10 or 11 possession games. Can somebody do the math for me? If you kicked a field goal on all 10 possessions, how many points would you score? And how many times do you think that would be enough to win? It's 60 minutes. It's a long game. A lot is going to happen. You are in scoring position. What is wrong with points? I get it. You're down 7. We'd love to score a touchdown here. Don't know what to tell you. The drive stalled. Oh, no, but we can go for it on 4th and 6. No, we're going to have 7 more possessions. 7. We're going to kick the field goal. Points are a good thing. Memo to Dan Campbell. Kick some field goals. What the heck? And he's not alone. Sorry to single him out. It was just he was the exclamation point on a day in which I saw seemingly, was there a law passed by Congress? You know, they just got back to work, Mark. I don't know if you're aware of that. And I don't think they've done much of anything. But did they pass a law mandating you have to go for it on 4th down?
David, it's not just a national law. It's an international law.
Oh.
Because if Congress passed that, I'm not sure it would apply to games played in Spain.
I mean, has the
And yet,
NFL
Mike
turned into the CFL?
McDaniel goes for it on 4th and 1 in a tie game.
In a tie game! In a tie game! You've scored no points. You're going up against Marcus Mariota, an old Marcus Mariota, I might add. I'm screaming. I was in the sports book a minute and a half, and I'm literally screaming out loud. What the is he doing?
It didn't even start there because, David, you and I had a simultaneous out-of-body experience together in the 4th quarter of the Michigan Northwestern game. Now, Michigan would come back and win the game. And anybody who's listened to me for a long time knows that that's my rival. I went to Michigan State. I'm little brother. I get it. So I don't like Michigan. But they're trailing in the 4th quarter.
By how much?
Michigan decides to go for it on 4th down instead. And I know their field goal kicker had missed 2. Instead of taking a 24-22 lead and kicking the ball off and playing defense against, wait for it, Northwestern.
Right. Who had done nothing all day on offense.
Michigan, the University of Michigan in the Big Ten, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, doesn't want to play defense against Northwestern
Right.
with the lead. Worked out. They got it done. But it's as many F-bombs as I've sent in a text to David in a long time. They're Michigan.
Northwestern didn't have 250 yards of offense. Northwestern had 11 first downs for the game. You mean to tell me you're worried about putting your defense on the field against their offense to protect the lead with 4 minutes to go? You don't think
all
a
you've
lead
done
is
the
safe?
whole game is turn the ball over. Take the 3 points and the lead.
Right.
Unbelievable.
You've committed 5 turnovers, 5, and now you're a field goal away from taking the lead. You have nearly 500 yards of offense. You're so much the better team. What is wrong with the lead? Make them beat you. You're trying very hard to beat yourself. And the coach goes, well, you know what, guys? I don't think we've done enough to beat ourselves. I think now I'm going to chip in. Let me tell you.
I don't know what your answer will be, David. I really don't. What bothers, and I think it's going for it on 4th downs, but the going for it on 4th downs, or all of a sudden in the second quarter, we score to go down 14-12 and we go for 2 with 7.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Because that drives me nuts.
Right.
When we're chasing points in the first half of games with 2-point conversions. When Oregon a while back was cute and they always went for 2 on their first touchdown, that was their thing. That's different.
Right. Oh, look at them. It's 8-0. Oh, that's cute. By the way, do you know what most teams did when they came right down and they scored? They kicked the extra point and the game was 8-7.
Yeah.
Because here's what I would say to the coach. Why are you chasing the 2 points now? Well, it's to be tied. You're still going to need one more score to win. Guess what? If you kick the extra point, you know what you're going to need? One more score to win. Kick the extra point. Oh, just I over under 3.5. How many times, if you spend a weekend watching a decent amount of football, that you get up from your couch, your chair, or you get and you just start yelling at the TV? How much money are you making? Seriously? You make decisions like this? Don't you have a friend? Can't you phone a friend? Where's Regis Philbin when you need him? For goodness sakes.
Well, David, here's the problem. The only friend they seem to be able to phone is the analytic guy who tells them to go for it over and over and over again.
Golly. Oh. You know, you would think when you go for it the first 2 times on 4th down, when you're in field goal range and you don't convert, that the 3rd time you take the field goal. I mean, that's what I thought last night with Dan Campbell. I'm like, well, he's got to take the field goal here. I mean, after all, now we're in the 3rd quarter. You know, don't you want to cut it to 4? I know you're down 7. We'd all love a touchdown here, except for the Eagles. I mean, come on, Dan. Guess what, by the way, if you score a touchdown, you know what you're going to need? You're going to need one more score. Oh. Listen, just a quick story. With the whole analytics thing, the AAF was big on analytics, all right? And I'm not going to out Gary Danielson here because I think he's already said it publicly, but he was in one of the meetings the AAF was having with their broadcast partners, and CBS was one of them. Gary was going to do a game, and Bill Polian was talking about, you know, the analytics and 10,000 times we put this play through the computer. And Gary raised his hand and said, Bill, I just have a question. For those 10,000 pass plays, is Peyton Manning the quarterback or am I the quarterback? I mean, don't we have to take certain factors into consideration?
One would think. And You know, if you're a Lions fan, you're just used to it. I mean, they got T-shirts for you. They've got the whole thing. How long before you're sure that that's the right move? How long is it going to take before you're sure every fourth down is worth going for it?
Golly.
Fourth and blanket, right? Well, 0 for 5 last night. How'd that work out for you? Miller and Moulton on an Overreaction Monday. We'll give you all the details of all the games next. It's the starting five.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Brad, that's an excellent point. That should be like one of his top 3 things for the job. I believe in this, I believe in this, and I believe in the first 3 quarters of games you take the points. Golly. That's, you know what? DTW, not much traffic at 3:30. Not much light either, except for the casinos. Circus, Westgate, Fontainebleau. I can't see it from where my window is, but kind of behind me and over to the left is Trump. The Hilton's got like 3 hotels in one block. And the last one is the Conrad.
Is it the Robert Conrad?
I
Is anybody daring you to knock a battery off your shoulder?
dare you. I loved when they did it on the Tonight Show. And they kind of nicked him. Remember?
Yeah.
The first time they did it, they just nicked him. They can't yet. There's no flexing that's allowed, at least Monday Night Football. Sunday Night Football, I think you do 9 weeks, and then they can flex any of the last, it's 9 or 10 weeks, and it's basically half a season. And then they can flex out of any game the rest of the way. I don't know if there's a limit on how many they can flex out of. But Monday Night Football can't start flexing until after Thanksgiving. So like next week, we have Carolina at Frisco. And then Monday Night Football, if they want, can start flexing. But in December right now, they're scheduled to have Giants, Patriots.
You won't flex out of that.
No. Eagles, Rams.
You won't flex out
Well,
of that. No, Eagles,
Chargers. Eagles, Chargers. The one we might flex out of is Miami, Pittsburgh.
I'll make you a little bet right now that you don't.
I'll make you the bet because normally there'd be no way. Mark, take a look at that weekend's games. That's like the 6th best game on the schedule that weekend. That weekend will rival the day we had yesterday.
No, you're right. I guess you could put Bills Patriots there if you could, because I'm just looking at because the 425 games might be locked in. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Look at the 2 1:00 games. CBS can't air both. So if you're CBS, who do you want? You want Bills Patriots? Or you want Broncos Chiefs? I mean,
no, Chargers Chiefs.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I'm with you.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. It's an Overreaction Monday on Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. We are in such a delirious football fog that I don't think either Miller nor Moulton has even thought of a potential poll question. We're just basking in the glow of the weekend that was.
Well, it's funny. I have an idea.
Okay.
I have an idea because, as you like to call it, it's Overreaction Monday. So what overreaction is most true? Chiefs won't make playoffs. Lions won't make playoffs. Just to start. It doesn't, I mean, we can, deviate from there.
Can we have a college one too?
Hell, David, you know me. The more poll questions, the better.
So
I'm in because it's not national anything worthy today. It's for you social media kids. It's National Unfriend Day. So why don't you pick up about 5 people you're sick of and unfriend them on Facebook?
Did you see the little commercial break that they did at a BYU game on social media?
I did not.
So they find a young lady and a young guy, and they give them placards. One side it says yes, and one side it says no. And they try to create a match, and they ask them 4 questions. And if they agree on 3 or more, they have a match. Okay. And it's cute and it's fun. And who knows if the 2 ever decide to, go have a Starbucks together or what have you. But one of the questions was, did you ever ghost anybody? And the guy quickly is like, no. And the young lady sheepishly is like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Men
Oh,
don't
yeah.
do a lot of ghosting. Women,
No.
on the other hand, do.
Well, and listen, if you had to deal with men, I think you'd ghost some people too.
I don't think they're wrong. I'm just
No.
saying that they are more likely to do it than a man is.
Time now for
The starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting five.
brought to you by Backman Turner Overdrive. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Lee County, Florida. Building a better community, not through BTO, but through BTS, business, sports, and tourism. How about we start with the NFL? Seems pretty popular. Dolphins in overtime beat the Commanders. Brutal game. But Achane did run for another $120. Mariota picked off early in the OT, led to a 29-yard Riley Patterson field goal. Dolphins have won 2 in a row. They're 4-7. They are going to screw up this quality draft pick, aren't they? They really are. They're going to finish 7-10. Mike McDaniel's going to keep his job. And instead of drafting in the top 5, they're going to draft like 14th, aren't they? Unbelievable. This just in, Josh Allen scored again. Now, if he didn't score, he was turning it over. But he just scored again. And Baker Mayfield looked at the defense and said, guys, I got you 32 points. What the? And by the way, can anybody cover a kick? Man.
Yeah, their kick coverage was terrible, David.
Horrendous. The Bills were starting at midfield or beyond all game. 44-32 Bills. Bucks dropped to 6-4. Buffalo improves to 7-3. Jags, Jags. They did not punt. Did you hear what the punter and long snapper did after the game? They grabbed Trevor Lawrence and they whisked him over, and he's like, what's going on? And they turned around, they took a picture, and they said, we'd like to thank you. It's the first time we've never had to work and get paid.
I love it.
35-6 Jags improving to 6-4. Chargers enter their bye week at 7-4. Chargers had just 8 first downs and 135 yards of offense, and the defense didn't force a punt. That's about as bad as you can get your butt kicked in an NFL game, isn't it? The Broncos have won 8 in a row, and they came from behind to beat the Chiefs in the fourth quarter, 22-19. The Broncos are 9-2. Nobody's any better in the NFL. The Chiefs are 5-5. Is this happening? Is the team that's been in 7 consecutive AFC championship games not even going to make the playoffs? Wow. Carolina in overtime, 30-27 over Atlanta. Put a fork in the Falcons. They're done at 3-7. Carolina's 6-5, half a game behind Tampa Bay. Imagine if they had beaten the Saints at home last week. Bryce Young, 448 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Got to admit, he looked pretty good. There are times in which he looks 4'7" out there. But, I mean.
No, he always looks 4'7" out there.
But
he does. He doesn't mean he doesn't make some plays. But, man, does he look little out there.
Well, he is little, but you know what I mean when he looks at 4'7", you can't make a play. That's what I mean.
No, I know.
But he's doing his best Spud Webb act, and it's working now. 448 and 3 touchdowns in Carolina's win. So the Rams picked off Darnold 4 times. And let me tell you, this is as physical a game as the NFL will allow. Holy smackers. Seattle lined up a 61-yard field goal attempt to try to win the game. It was no good. Rams survive at home 21-19. They've won 5 in a row. They're 8-2. Seattle falls to 7-3. Let me tell you, I would pay for these 2 teams to play 2 more times right now.
Yeah, I mean, you throw San Francisco in the mix. When did we ever think, the most physical division in football is the NFC West? Wow.
Speaking of the Niners, Brock Purdy came back through 3 touchdowns. They whooped up on the Cardinals 41-22. San Fran 7-4. Arizona falls to 3-7. The Bengals are 3-7 after getting whooped in Pittsburgh. 2 Steeler defensive touchdowns. However, the big story, they fear Aaron Rodgers has broken his left wrist. Now, obviously, he's right-handed, but it doesn't mean having trouble, catching the ball, snaps, anyway. So Pittsburgh 6-4. They still have a 1-game lead in the division, but can Aaron Rodgers play in the coming weeks? Ravens rally from a 13-3 deficit. They knocked out the starting quarterback for the Browns, Dylan Gabriel, and that meant Shedeur Sanders.
And that's what you all wanted. Everybody wanted to see. He's got to be able to play. He's the guy. 4 of 16 with a pick and 2 sacks.
And
4 of 16.
Cleveland once again did not score an offensive touchdown. The Ravens rally. Mark Andrews with a touchdown run to win it 23-16 for Baltimore, who's now 5-5. So we can talk about him again.
How fun was that Mark Andrews touchdown, though?
That was awesome.
Lined up for the tush push, and he runs wide. That was a fun play.
Never thought I'd see a tight end with a reverse pivot off a handoff and then going around the right side. So the Vikings scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth to take a 17-16 lead, only to allow a kickoff return beyond midfield. Bears run it into the line 3 times, and Cairo Santos kicks a 48-yard field goal at the gun. Probably the ugliest game-winning 48-yard field goal I've ever seen. He pulled that sucker by 5 yards. He didn't hit it clean. Okay, the ball was fluttering. It went through them uprights, man. That's all that counted.
It was that drop kick 3-wood off the tee, David, that you hit a little behind, and it's got the hook and a little top spin, and all of a sudden you're out there 225, 230, and went, you know what? I could take 14 of those every time I play.
I was going to say it's that 8-foot par putt that you towed, and somehow, some way it went in, and you went, damn, I didn't hit that good at all. 1917 Bears, they're 7-3. They're in first place in the NFC North. That's right, the Chicago Bears. Vikings dropped to 4-6, put a fork in them. Eagles, their offense is broken, but their defense is like, it don't matter. We're really good. By the way, that Jalen Phillips pickup, that's going to be the best 3rd-round pick we've spent in a long time.
Unbelievable. What do you have, 5 pressures, couple of sacks, hit the quarterback. Right. Had just a terrific game again, 2 in a row.
Eagles 16-9 over the Lions. The Lions would have had a lot more points, but Dan Campbell just kept going for it on 4th down when they were in field goal range. Every single time. 0 for 5.
What's 5 times 3, David?
That'd be 15, Mark.
What did they lose by?
They lost by 7.
Huh.
3 of those 5 even.
Right.
It was windy. I mean, figure you might miss 1, maybe even 2. Right. Jalen Hurts with a rushing touchdown for Philly. By the way, I'd like to nominate A.J. Brown, okay? The fact that he hasn't harmed anyone, I think makes him everybody's giving him grief. If you watch that offense play and you were an Eagles wide receiver, okay, you might be prone to violence. Anyway, Houston kicked the field goal at the gun to beat Tennessee 16-13. Jordan Love threw a game-winning touchdown with 4 minutes to go. They beat the Giants 27-20. Monday Night Football tonight, Cowboys and the Raiders here in Vegas, 8:15 Eastern on ABC and ESPN. Cowboys on the road where they're terrible, yet they're a 3.5-point favorite. Oh, by the way, Jets cornerback Chris Boyd shot in critical but stable condition in New York City. College football. AP rankings came out. Now, I know they don't count anymore. Only the College Football Playoff Committee rankings do, and they come out tomorrow night. But the Playoff Committee's rankings hardly deviate from the AP rankings. So that's why we tell you that the top 3 remain the same: Ohio State, Indiana, A&M. Georgia, Ole Miss round out the top 5. Oregon and Texas Tech tied for 6th. Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9. Bama falls from 4 to 10 with the loss. And Oklahoma ahead of Alabama. All righty then. Miami, by the way, highest ranked ACC team at 14. James Madison, highest ranked group of 5 team at 21, with North Texas out of the American at 22. Hockey, 5 games. Canucks scored 5 in the third in Tampa to beat the Lightning 6-2. Wow. Crosby and Moulton both scored in Sweden. Penguins shut out the Preds 4-0. That's after Stamkos had the game winner Friday in Sweden. Your Wings beat my Rangers, Mark, 2-1. Lucas Raymond, the game-winning goal late third, and then we had a mini brawl at the end of the game. Old-time hockey there. Wild, Kiprusoff. That's good. They're paying him $8 billion. Got the game winner in OT. Wild beat Vegas 3-2. And the Avs have won 6 in a row. They've played 19 games this year. They've lost in regulation once.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Once.
Once.
Okay. 4-1 over the Islanders. Big night in the NBA. Magic lose in overtime to Houston because KD at 35. Dallas beat Portland in overtime. Utah beat Chicago in double overtime, 150-147. The Clippers are 4-9. Ty Lue might get fired. Boston beat them 121-118. In a battle of 1-11 teams, Brooklyn beat Washington 129-106 for the Wizards' 11th straight loss. That officially makes them the worst team in the league, even worse than New Orleans, who lost at home to Golden State by 18. They fired their coach over the weekend. Atlanta was down 22 in the fourth. They came back to beat Phoenix 124-122. No Wemby. San Antonio still beat Sacramento by 13. College hoops, Gators over the Canes, 82-68 in Jacksonville. There was 8,300 on hand. Both teams were 3-1. Houston escaped Auburn with a 73-72 win, and Purdue took care of Akron so that Mr. Painter could win his 500th game. By the way, hats off to the Jacksonville women. They beat Georgia Tech over the weekend, 69-64. Good for them. In golf, Mark, Lynn Grant won the Annika outside of Orlando. She's from Sweden, presented the trophy by Sorenstam, a legend in Sweden. Nice moment for her. Rory lost in a playoff in Dubai to Matt Fitzpatrick, but he won the race to Dubai, basically player of the year, season-long championship. 7th time he's done so. He passed Seve on the all-time list. He was crying post-match.
He had to make eagle on 18 to force the playoff, by the way, and did.
He did. And Adam Schenk won the Bermuda Championship. Our buddy Frankie Sappin finished T3. He's now 124 on the points list. Top 100 keep their card. Next 25 get conditional tour status.
Moved up 18 spots on the FedEx Cup list with that yesterday.
Miller and Moulton. That was the starting 5, brought to you by Lee County, Florida.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not 1 but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best,
Be Cape. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, everybody. Yeah, fam, that was horrendous. Horrendous. That is like making something up. I don't think it would have mattered, but golly. Give Collinsworth credit. He saw the replay. He went, oh, come on. He said, no big deal or anything. It only decided the outcome of the game. Good for him. I know people don't like him, but that's what you need to say there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Overreaction Monday. Thanks so much for being with us. Mark comes at you from the cozy confines of Southwest Florida, where it's in the 60s. Life is grand. I come at you from Vegas. It's early. Surprised I haven't had somebody pound on the door yet and say, hey, keep it down. Even for Vegas, you're a little too excited for 3, 4 in the morning. Come on now. Take it easy there, big fella.
Well, I think what they thought when you let the how the heck are you go, they're going, wow, someone's invited someone to his room.
Somebody's having a good time over there. Is that an Elvis impersonator? What's
I
going
wonder
on?
what he paid for that.
Miller and Moulton on this Overreaction Monday. Hey, can we talk about Saturdays?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
I'd like to spend a little time. First off, nice to see the Gators actually show some heart and represent. That was nice. You're supposed to do it every week, just so you know. You're getting paid now. That you're supposed to show up 12 times a year, not 9. But, it's nice of you, to show up. And by the way, Lane Kiffin, don't be afraid when you're the next Gators coach to kick a field goal. I'm just saying. First time, Mark, I got the feeling he's leaving. First time. His actions post-game, what he didn't say post-game. I mean, it's real simple if he's staying. You say you're staying.
Exactly. The Arizona State guys had no problem saying, I'm not going anywhere.
The Georgia Tech guy says, cut me open. I bleed the Yellow Jackets. Okay. I mean, listen, Lane's saying all the right things if you're leaving. I mean, he's had multiple opportunities to say, guys, how many times have I told you how happy I am? We're winning here. We're probably going to make the playoff. Why do I need to leave? My life's never been better than it is right now. Why would I leave? I'm staying. Was that hard, Mark?
No, but
15 seconds?
see, you only say that if you're staying.
Right.
And
right.
Since by all accounts, David, the people you talk to, and you know more people than I do, but I know a few now, particularly in Gatorland. I've now met some people who they're not at the top rung.
Right.
But they're a phone call or two away from people in the top rung.
Yeah.
And we talked about it on the show last week. The money, the original thought was like 13.5. That's like at 14.5, 15 we're hearing now.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's irrelevant. Either he wants the job or he doesn't. And what, are they going to lose him over money?
No, but the money's now getting redonkulous.
Oh, there's no doubt. But listen, with all due respect, so you pay a coach $13 million a year. You're paying the quarterback $4 million. I mean, but so Saturday night, Sunday morning, first time I got the feeling. You know what? I wonder, is there a contract in the drawer? That it's the first time I wondered that, because I've been saying he's staying.
He's
staying.
I said it.
Right. Saturday night was the first time watching him walk off the field, how he acted, and then what he said post-game. That was the first time that I went, dude, it'd be so easy for you to just end it right now and just go, guys, I'm not going anywhere except to the playoffs. That's where I'm going. Going to the playoffs with you. I'm not going anywhere. So,
yep.
And not only that, things are very quiet. Very quiet. Way too quiet.
By the way, on that note, we got plenty of time to get to it. You can just tell me to shut up. We'll talk about it Tuesday or Wednesday. But, we keep hearing Lane for Florida. I get it. I get the reasons why. Are you hearing any names associated with the Penn State job?
No. And the guy who I thought was getting it was Mike Elko, and they just negotiated a 6-year extension for him.
Right.
Of course, there was a delay in that extension, And that was because of the first half Saturday against South Carolina when they were down 30-3. All of a sudden, Mike's reps were like saying, hey, can we get that contract faxed over? And they're like, contract? What contract? What are you talking about, contract? I'm sorry, who is this again? We'll get back to you in like 2 hours. Click. But
a comeback for the ages by A&M. Oh, my goodness. South Carolina, it's funny, David. You and I were texting a little bit on Saturday, and we both like Beamer.
Yeah.
We do. We both like Shane Beamer. We both think he's a good coach, could be a really good coach if given the opportunity somewhere. You blow that lead, it's hard to get that opportunity somewhere. But I'm serious. If, LSU or Florida had him as their number 3 guy in case 1 and 2 didn't happen, he went from 3 to 33 in the second half Saturday afternoon. Like, I'm not joking around, David. I can't hire that guy right now. I can't.
Well, this goes back to the question we asked, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago now? I think it was just a week ago. How much do you blame the head coach when your team in football blows a big second half lead or fourth quarter lead or whatever? And nobody blames the South Carolina players, by the way. Nobody. It all went on Shane Beamer. Now, I will say he loused up the end of the first half. He thought a pass was incomplete. It was complete. There was not much time left in the first half. He let 7 valuable seconds run off the clock before he called timeout. Instead of South Carolina having 18 seconds left and the ball on the 7-yard line with a timeout still in hand, there was only 11 seconds left, which basically meant they had time for one play, and then they settled for a field goal. So now, granted, they led by 27, but there was a chance that they were going to lead by 31. And Beamer blew it. He did. And he said afterwards, that was all on me. I thought it was this, it was that, cost us the 6 seconds, and who knows, maybe it cost us 4 points. But, I don't want to revisit the question, how much do you blame the coach when your team blows a big, how much did Jags fans blame Liam Cohen for blowing the 19-point fourth quarter lead? Clearly, Giants fans blame Brian Daboll last week. All right. South Carolina fans were blaming Shane Beamer. Okay. Where would you rank Alabama?
Oh, boy.
They've played maybe the best schedule of the really good teams in the SEC, except maybe for Oklahoma, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, Oklahoma's played a ridiculously tough schedule.
And they played Michigan non-conference, too. So, just curious here. Where would you rank them? AP put them 10th yesterday.
Thought it was interesting that they were right behind Notre Dame.
Right.
Because they did lose to Florida State. I get it. That's an awful loss. Then they lost to Oklahoma.
Right.
Notre Dame's 2 losses are better than Alabama's 2 losses. But Alabama's wins are far better, and it's not close than Notre Dame's wins. I had a Notre Dame fan texting me defending their wins and how, after they beat Pitt, he's like, so do you think they're overrated now? And I don't ever remember calling Notre Dame overrated. Apparently I did to this gentleman. But he texted me to tell me, you still think they're overrated? And I just simply said they shouldn't be ranked ahead of Miami. That's my opinion. So with Alabama, I think Alabama should be rated a spot ahead of Notre Dame. I'm surprised they're behind Notre Dame. I'm going to be curious what the College Football Playoff Committee has them ranked tomorrow night.
Because remember,
I would have them ahead of Notre Dame.
Remember, we're talking the AP rankings, which came out midday yesterday. They're meaningless. The only rankings that count this time of the year are the College Football Playoff Committee rankings. However, the College Football Playoff Committee rankings are so similar to the AP rankings in the first 2 weeks that's why we mentioned where the AP voters have certain teams. I'll say it again. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, still your top 3. Georgia moves up 1. Ole Miss moves up 1. Oregon moves up 1. Oregon and Texas Tech in the AP poll are actually tied for 6th, for what that's worth. Oklahoma moves up 3 spots into the top 10. They're 8th. Notre Dame stays the same in the AP poll at 9. Bama drops from 4 to 10. Texas dropped 7 spots to 17. I did not hear the commentary late in the fourth quarter. I am being told by others that, was it McDonough and McElroy that had that game?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That they were still trying to make the case for Texas in the playoff. All right. That, if they win their last 2 games, they're 9-3. Look at who their losses would be against. Now they have the one bad loss at Florida. They do. But 2 of the other 3 losses are at Ohio State and at Georgia, 2 teams that are currently 1-4. And so, they were still, I guess, making the case for Texas. To me, Texas is out. Even if they beat A&M.
Because of how they lost Saturday night?
Well, they haven't looked
serious.
Good. Well, they haven't looked good. I don't mean against Georgia. They barely beat, who was it? Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Kentucky.
Right. And Kentucky, back-to-back weeks.
Right. 13-10 against Kentucky, for goodness sakes. I mean, they just haven't, the best game all year was Oklahoma. They did whack Oklahoma. Mateer was playing when he shouldn't have, but they whacked them. They did. They outplayed them. They whacked them. It was their best performance of the year against a quality team. And it would be an interesting 9-3 resume, Mark. I mean, wins against Oklahoma and A&M, who, if they keep winning, both those teams will be in the top 10 at the very least. I mean, that's 2 pretty damn good wins.
Right. They're 9-3 versus Miami or Notre Dame's 10-2.
10-2, exactly.
I mean, it's a hell of an argument. It really is.
It is. Okay. I think Georgia clinched a spot in the playoff Saturday night. Now I think they can lose to Georgia Tech. They're fine. They're fine. And I don't care if they get in the SEC title game and lose it. I don't care. To me, they're in.
But what's going to be interesting about the playoff is just little things that I look at. Where BYU's ranked ahead of Texas and Miami. Does that hold true with the playoff committee? Those are the little things. USC won, but they didn't really move up much with that win against Iowa. So those are the things that I'm more interested, how they handled 11 through 20, if you will.
Miller and Moulton. So the rankings don't come out, the one that counts anyway, until tomorrow night. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332516.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, Puck, I got to be honest. Since the preseason talk, who has said that Arch is special once the season has started? I mean, has he had 2 good games this year? So now before the season started, yeah. I mean, hell, I thought DJ Lagway was special before the season. Hasn't been. But as to, I forget who it was in the chat room who talked about Miami. 2 things to be serious for a second. If Miami dropped the back half of their home and home with Notre Dame, I don't know if they'd get non-conference teams to do deals with them. Because if you're backing out of a home and home with Notre Dame, you can't be trusted. So that was one thing. But the second thing is, and listen, both Miller and Moulton think Miami should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame because they beat them and they have the same record. However, what would Miami's resume be if not for the Notre Dame win? So, yeah, they need to play Notre Dame because, unfortunately, the conference they're in right now is not holding up their end of the bargain to impress the national voters. Now, let's be honest, Miami should be undefeated. Once they beat Notre Dame, they had more talent than every team they played the rest of the year. And they've lost twice.
How'd you enjoy East Lansing, David?
How
was the campus? Was it the leaves still around? Was it pretty? I mean, the old part of campus is very pretty.
I think it was beautiful. Got there a little too late in the year. You know, mid-November, a lot of the leaves had fallen off. The color was not vibrant.
Right.
It was a very mild day Friday flying in, so that was nice. Stayed at the Graduate. And after the game, drove back to Detroit.
Right.
By the way, saw Bill Guerin, the GM of the Wild.
Okay.
They weren't playing the Wings. They didn't play the Wings Friday. They didn't play the Wings Saturday. They didn't play the Wings Sunday. I thought it was interesting that they were in Detroit. I'm thinking to myself, did the Wings play Columbus or somebody like that Friday maybe? And I'm like, was he in town? Are they scouting for a trade? What's going on?
I wonder, because he would have flown directly to Grand Rapids if he was, because the Wings have, some young guys that are, or was there a USA hockey thing going on in Detroit that he had to be at?
Okay, that would make sense. But yeah, fam, I think your best shot at Notre Dame losing another game just went bye-bye. They run in the table again.
Yep.
And remember all of you who gave Miller and Moulton a hard time when we said, how many places would you leave Notre Dame for in the modern college football world? And we said, maybe Ohio State. Okay, think about it. Okay, lose your first 2 games of the year, play a non-conference schedule, run the table. Okay, hell, at this rate, they may host a playoff game.
I would love to see them 8-9 because I really want to see Notre Dame and Ohio State. I want to see those running backs, that offense against that defense, because that's the best running back in the country. That's a first-round pick. He's really good.
He's a dude.
Yeah, he is.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. It's an Overreaction Monday. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. So did you go with those poll questions that you teased about 40 minutes ago?
I did not. I literally just thought about it when you came back from break and said I didn't put anything up. So, do we want to we want to go with that? Is that a legitimate question? I think most people would say the Lions will miss out of the Lions and Chiefs.
Ooh,
but
I don't know. Whether you want to do it now or you want to do it in 10 minutes when we go to break again. But there's two things. I do want to correct myself. I thought the Annika, the LPGA tournament, I've been saying, late last week and this morning that it's near Orlando. That's where it had been because that's where she lives. I guess they moved it to a course near Clearwater. My bad. My apologies. Secondly, didn't mention the starting five, wanted to get to it. Kenny Easley died over the weekend. Kenny Easley was 66 years old. I'm guessing there's at least one generation of people listening and or watching on Twitch and YouTube who didn't see Kenny Easley play. Hell, maybe there's two generations. This is how good Kenny Easley was. He only played 7 years in the NFL, and he's in the Hall of Fame. It's how good Kenny Easley was. Kenny Easley was every bit as good as Ronnie Lott. He just didn't play as long and on as good a teams. Kenny Easley was a force. He died at the age of 66. All right. So just wanted to mention that.
All right. Well, I got the poll question up while you were talking there on this Overreaction Monday. Who is more likely to miss the playoffs? The Detroit Lions, the Kansas City Chiefs? Vote accordingly.
If we could just play the game for 30 more seconds. If I tell you that you can pick 4 SEC, 3 Big Ten, pick 2 from the Big 12, 1 ACC, or you know what? I'm not going to say 2 from the Big 12. You get 4 SEC, 3 Big Ten, 3 schools between the Big 12 and ACC, you decide, and then a group of 6 and Notre Dame. That's your playoff. Who are your teams?
Well, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon.
From the Big Ten. Easy. Done.
Yep.
Now, very quickly, you've got Michigan and USC looming.
Right.
All right. They can both win out. In USC's case, they'd beat Oregon. In Michigan's case, they'd beat Ohio State. If either wins out and finishes 10-2, would you put them in ahead of any of the 3 you mentioned? Like, don't you have to put USC ahead of Oregon?
USC in ahead of Oregon. They'd have the same record, and USC will have beaten them. So,
okay. I just want to make sure.
No, you got to put USC in that. And if Michigan wins out, they're in. Period. They're in. They're Michigan. And they will have beaten Ohio State, the baddest team in the land right now.
Okay.
If Michigan pulls that off, they are in.
The reason that I brought that up, though, is Oregon is 6th. Maybe they'll be 7th tomorrow, but they'll be one or the other based on the AP poll from yesterday. Mark, USC right now is 16th and Michigan is 18th. That's a lot of ground. We're talking about, can Miami make up ground? And they're now what, 14? Right. And they were 15? I mean, Miami's 14, USC 16, Michigan's 18.
I'm just telling you, Michigan beats Ohio State. They're in the playoff.
Okay. By the way, you know what helped Michigan over the weekend? Oklahoma beating Alabama.
Darn right.
It's one of Michigan's 2 losses.
Yeah.
That loss, and it was on the road. That loss looking better and better by the week. Thank you, John Mateer, Brett Venables.
By the way, Mr. Underwood, I'm a supporter of yours. I think you're a good little player. You're not improving, young man. That was a terrible game on Saturday. I don't know exactly where the problems lie offensively for the University of Michigan, but boy, oh boy, did you look lousy against Northwestern. But
right,
you got the W.
Okay.
You got the W. All right.
SEC.
So
Name the
SEC,
four. Name the four.
A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Oklahoma.
Okay. I wanted you to say it out loud. That's why I asked.
No. Well, I don't like what you're making me do here, because I would not take three teams collectively from the Big 12 and the ACC. There is no way I would take a third over Alabama. But go
No.
your argument is. Go ahead.
Mark, that is exactly why I framed it the way I framed it. I think heading into last weekend, many of us, not named Greg Sankey, were of the opinion that the SEC was going to get 4, and it was going to be a scramble to see which 4, but that 4 is the number. That's really the max number. 5 is, come on, you're being outrageous to ask for 5. Well, now that Oklahoma just went and did what they did, and the season is playing out the way it is, don't you think right now that's the debate? Alabama right now is the 5th team from the SEC, and isn't we putting Alabama head-to-head with Team 2 from the Big 12 or ACC?
And to me, for the the ACC, I guess they could get 2. I get it. They could get a champ in Miami. The Big 12 could get 2. Texas Tech loses to BYU in the rematch in the title game. I think Texas Tech has earned their spot. I do.
Now, I look at the ACC getting 2 as the champion and Georgia Tech, because if Georgia Tech wins out. But what would be interesting, if Georgia Tech, let's just say they win out, but then first off, they'd get to Charlotte. Are we sure if Georgia Tech wins out, the crazy ACC tiebreakers, do they get to Charlotte? Or do they get to just post 11-1?
David, I'm confused, but
I am too.
First off, they would beat Pitt.
Right.
So that Pitt's out of it. Then it would be Georgia Tech, Virginia, and SMU, providing they all get to the finish line without losing again. So, SMU does play Louisville this week, so that's not a guaranteed win. And then they go to Cal. So SMU has 2 games left, which they could lose one of. Virginia, it doesn't matter who they play. They can lose any game that they play because that's just who they are. But they've got Virginia Tech. That's it.
Now, see, you and I were of the belief all year that if Georgia Tech posted an 11-1 regular season by beating Georgia in Atlanta, that they would get in. Well, the problem for Georgia Tech is right now we think BYU and Georgia Tech / Miami are competing against Alabama for an at-large. Well, Alabama beat Georgia at Georgia. So the best thing that Georgia Tech could conceivably have going for them, Alabama's like, yeah, we did that. In fact, you could argue we did one better.
And that's why, to me, the top of the rankings are meaningless this week. Where teams 10 through 15, 16 are is everything. Because in the AP, Alabama's ahead of BYU. Alabama's ahead of both Miami and Georgia Tech. So those are the hurdles that are there if someone's going to replace Alabama as the last team. Now, Alabama takes on Auburn in the Plains. And if Auburn wins that game, where's that game played, David?
At Auburn.
Yeah, that's when they win. I mean, if they win at home.
Or as Nick Saban says, that place is spooked. That place has ghosts. Those games there have been something. They have been absolutely something. The games in Tuscaloosa lately, not so much. The games at Auburn, oh my goodness.
So, we're doing all, and look at, do they deserve to go? Probably not. But we're making all these points, and we haven't even brought up Vandy, who could end up winning out and being 10-2. And they seemingly look like they have no shot at 10-2.
Well, and doesn't it look like Vanderbilt right now is the line that's keeping the second Big 12 and the second ACC team? Vandy's like, well, we're not getting in, and your guys are behind us.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want.
Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our diamond event, November 21st through 23rd.
This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Takori.
This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping.
More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating
The
needs.
2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Here's the problem, Left Twix. The ACC champ gets the bid, not Miami. And Miami doesn't have much of a way to play for the ACC championship. Other than that, I've got no real issue with what your top 12 look like if Navy can get the horse in the barn. They've got to beat Memphis to get to the American playoff. And Marco, no, we do not talk Europa basketball. We barely talk NBA basketball on this show. But thanks for joining us. A lot more American football here than anything else if you're still with us on Twitch, sir. But Left Twix, you got to remember the ACC champ's the one with the automatic bid. That ACC champ is going to be Georgia Tech, Virginia, or SMU right now. Now, David, the other side of this, if Alabama runs the table and Ole Miss runs the table, well, they win their last games or whatever. And Ole Miss, Georgia, and Alabama are all 7-1. Alabama goes, right, to the title game?
I believe so. I believe Alabama still controls things. If they beat Auburn, they make the SEC title game.
And Robes, I'm with you. Here's my question for you. I'll do this on air. I'll save this question for you on air, David. Why do it here when I can do it for everybody?
Tough to argue with that. Is the lighting behind me distracting? Do I need to change something?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
One interesting thing happened Friday playing. Now, the second hole at our course is an easier par 5.
Okay.
We played the hole the lowest handicap in the group was, I think, an 8. I think we played the 9th hole or the second hole 3 under as a group, 3 birdies and a par. That's fun. Don't see that much out of a bunch of average guys where you got, I think an 8, a 9, a 12, and a 14. I mean, that's
You the 9 or the 12?
I am the 9.
That because of your
One damn round.
round.
And I play so it's I think I'm a 10 something, but when I play the white tees, I get 9.
Gotcha.
And the white tees instead of the blue-white combos are easily 3 shots easier.
Javier, did you hear that Texas State Trooper got relieved of his game day duties?
And by the way, that's free money.
Right.
That's the university pays. I believe they have to pay time, at least time, and he didn't get fired. He just got relieved of his duties at the football game. He's not done as a state trooper.
Yeah,
but that is the cake job of cake jobs.
No doubt.
When I was with the Everblades, we had both the Lee County and we had the Stadies for a while. I want to say in Florida, we had to pay them time and a half to do those jobs. Those volunteer jobs, they get time and a half. So anytime you see them at a church or at a game, and I mean, look, more power to them because they usually have to have seniority to get there, and they're very deserving of getting those cushy gigs. He lost a 6-7 hour cushy gig right there.
Yep.
Oh, left Twix, no doubt. Beyond that, beyond just a D-bag. I mean, that's...
I thought he came across as a Texas A&M fan. He was
pissed.
Yes,
he did. That's what I thought. It was the point. It was the finger point.
It's like,
if he'd have bumped him and said, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just making, if he'd have thrown his hands up, it would have all been forgiven. But it was, he yelled. What an idiot.
He forgot where he was. He thought it was, walking down the street and you or I bumped into him. It's like, dude, it's a football player running through the end zone.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X on an Overreaction Monday. You posted the poll question, NFL, which, is more likely? Chiefs missing the playoffs, Lions missing the playoffs?
Correct. Early voting, overwhelming Chiefs. Overwhelming. 9 of 10 saying the Chiefs will miss the playoffs. A lot of Chief hatred out there. There really is.
I don't know if it's hatred, but it is definitely fatigue. Jealousy. Come on.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, 7 straight AFC championship games, 6 of them at home. I mean, yeah. People are
I want them to make the playoffs and make a deep run now. Just when you kick a team and you have them, you basically have them on the mat. This is, I'll go old WWE Georgia Championship Wrestling style. This is Tommy Wildfire Rich having Buzz Sawyer down and then letting him up so he can abuse him some more, and he ends up losing. When you have them pinned, keep them down. And right now, the Chiefs are down.
So both the Lions and the Chiefs this morning are the 8 seeds.
Right.
In fact, the Chiefs are the 9. The Lions are the 8. The Lions are out this morning because the Niners have played one more game and they won it. So San Fran holds down the 7 seed at 7-4.
But the Lions are out. The Niners' schedule is very doable the rest of the way.
Yes.
We talked about that before the season began. No one likes when Miller and Moulton play the schedule game, but every once in a while, there's a reason behind it. And San Francisco, by all accounts, when the season started, had one of the easiest schedules in the league. They still do. So,
meanwhile, the Chiefs are technically behind the Texans. They're both 5-5. They both would miss the playoffs this morning if we had to do it now. But the Texans' conference record is superior to the Chiefs. That is the biggest thing working against the Chiefs right now. Not only are they 5-5, they're 2-4 in the AFC. So who are they going to win tiebreakers against? They lost head-to-head to the Jags, all right? Their one meeting with the Chargers this year, they lost. Their one meeting with the Broncos this year, they lost.
They're
By the
0-5
way,
in one-score games, the Chiefs, by the way, after being as great as they were. And you
for
look at
3 years.
Right, you look at the Broncos, who lost 2 one-score games earlier in the year. They're now 7-2 in one-score games. That's
Right.
incredibly impressive.
Yep. Denver, along with Indianapolis, both 6-0 at home. So we talk about home field advantage and this, that, and the other thing. Right now, because the Colts didn't play this week, the Colts have fallen to the 3 seed because they're 8-2, and both the Broncos and the Patriots are 9-2. But so anyway, right now, both the Chiefs and the Lions are out. The Lions are a half a game out. The Chiefs are a full game out. And they might even be more than that because the teams who are seeded 6th and 7th, they've lost to. Don't the Chiefs still have, and for that matter, Buffalo seeded 5 and they lost to them. And don't the Chiefs have the Colts coming up this weekend?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, David.
And
the Chiefs still have the Colts. Then they have a short week at Dallas, which,
right.
Yeah, they're better than Dallas, but it's a short week on the road Thanksgiving. They still play Houston. It's a home game. They host the Chargers. They host the Broncos, have 2 road games at Tennessee and at Las Vegas. So they, last 5 games, 3 are at home against good opponents. The 2 road games are against teams they should beat.
By the way, the Chiefs are 1-4 on the road. The win, I believe, was at the Giants, 3rd week of the season. So they've lost 4 in a row. Well, not 4 in a row because they started in Brazil against the Chargers, and that was technically a road game for the Chiefs. But so, yeah, this is a very different, did we see this coming? Some of us thought that they weren't going to win the West this year, and I was one of those. But how many of us said they were going to miss the playoffs?
Right, and I had them tied for the division with Denver, but they would win, the tiebreak. But the other game that we have to talk about is what the Eagles did by winning. I mean, look at who the Eagles have already beaten this year. They beat the Rams. They've beaten the Lions now. Believe they've beaten the Packers. So when you look at, and they beat the Bucks.
Right.
So when you look at the Eagles right now, their chances at a 1 seed went from 20% to 50% with that win last night. As great as the Rams are playing and as physical as the Rams and Seahawks are, the odds are they're going to have to go to Philadelphia if they want to get to the Super Bowl. And the Rams had them, but they blew that game. So that could end up being the difference between who hosts the NFC Championship game this year.
And one of Philly's 2 losses was against Denver. If you're going to lose, it's better to lose out of conference than in conference. Both of the Rams' losses were in conference. And as Mark mentioned, one of them was head-to-head. So, yes. Plus, I think just going with division games alone, you'd have to argue the Rams' schedule the rest of the way might be harder than the Eagles because, well, just about every damn NFC West game is a slog. And that's certainly not the case in the NFC East.
No, it is not. The rest of the way for the Eagles, they are at the Bills. I'm at the Chargers, so a couple of tough games. They play the Commanders twice. They play the Raiders, Bears, and they are at the Cowboys. So I think, I would be betting on Philadelphia being the 1 seed. I want to go back to Saturdays and ask you a question.
Okay.
Because I do think Georgia will be number 4 by the committee tomorrow. My question to you is this. It doesn't look like, because Georgia lost Alabama, as best we can figure out, and if we're wrong, let us know, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, either of the chat rooms. But as we see it, if Alabama beats Auburn, they're still going to play for the SEC title.
That's my understanding, yes.
So if Georgia wins out, even with a win against Georgia Tech, the best they can finish is 11-1.
Right.
If Texas Tech wins out, including another win against BYU in the Big 12 championship game, particularly, let's say they do it similarly to how they did it last time, it left little doubt. Is Texas Tech deserving of a bye?
So basically, would you move Texas Tech at the end of the conference championship weekend? Would you move them up to 4 and slide Georgia back to 5?
Right.
12-1 over 11-1.
Conference
Texas
champion.
Conference champion. And remember, the committee wants to do multiple things, including keep the conference championship games meaningful. That's why they don't want to overly penalize a team who loses in their conference championship game where they entered the game in the playoff. They don't necessarily want to punish them for playing the extra game that they earned. Hence, it's why SMU made it last year over the 3 9-3 SEC teams. Mark, I do think they would move Texas Tech up to 4, and they would just cite 12-1 over 11-1. They would say, "Hey, listen, they beat BYU twice, they beat Utah. Okay, they've got quality wins on the schedule. That we've seen them play. They're a good team." Okay, and Georgia would go, "Our conference is a lot harder, and we beat Texas, we beat Georgia Tech, so we would do the comparative win thing here."
Right. And pay attention tomorrow if we're onto something here. Where are BYU and Utah ranked in comparison to how far they drop Alabama? Just keep note of that when the playoff committee does their rankings tomorrow.
Like right now, BYU's 11, Utah's 13. Obviously, if you're Texas Tech, you want BYU and Utah to be as highly ranked as possible because you're going to play one of them in the Big 12 title game.
Boy, Texas Tech just humiliated UCF on Saturday.
Yes, they did.
Backup quarterback before the first half was over with and just toyed with them. They're physical. When they played Utah at Utah and basically out Utah'd them on their turf, I took notice. And then they whooped up on BYU. Don't know what that means. Look, that conference isn't as good as the Big Ten. It isn't as good as the SEC. I get it. But you only can play who's on your schedule, and they're whooping everyone. Lost with their backup quarterback playing against Arizona State. So I think Texas Tech could end up with one of the byes.
Does it matter? Like, how valuable do you think the bye is? I mean, George, we'll go with your hypothetical. We play this sucker out, 12-1 Texas Tech gets ranked 4, 11-1 Georgia gets ranked 5. So Texas Tech gets the bye. Georgia will play the group of 5 champion, group of 6. Right now, they would play James Madison. Maybe they play the winner of, who knows?
North Texas Navy or however that works out.
Right, or East Carolina, whatever, right. And Georgia's going to win. They're at home, too. They're going to win. Big. And then they're going to pick some damn location. They're going to play Texas Tech, maybe in the Fiesta Bowl. Huh, okay, cool. How much of a difference? Do you think it matters?
Yes, because, look, it's as simple as any one game a player can get injured. I'd rather not play the game because you could lose a player or two. That's important. Depth isn't what it once was at any of these schools in the NIL land. So for that reason alone, I'd rather have the bye. Home game would be nice, but I'd rather have the bye.
How about this, though? Who do you think would have a better draw? Georgia at 5, or let's just say they run the table, Ohio State at 1. because you know what we're getting at here. Yeah, okay, Georgia had to play in the first round, but they played the James Madison or the champion from the American, and they beat them 41-13. Okay, and then who do they play? Texas Tech. Meanwhile, Ohio State, yeah, they got their bye, but Mark, you've nailed it here. Ohio, how ironic would this be? Does Ohio State get to play Oregon now? Only they come off the 3 weeks off this year? You know, because could Oregon Notre Dame be the 8-9 game, and Ohio State plays the winner?
Or right now, how the AP looks, Oklahoma and Notre Dame's the 8-9 for what it's worth. Good luck getting either one of those teams. And I know the Buckeyes got to go beat Indiana first to get that first overall seed. I get it. And there's part of me that's dying to see Notre Dame and Ohio State play one another. You always say, David, styles make a fight.
Yep.
Well, that Notre Dame defense is really good. And running back from Notre Dame is great.
Wait, you said the Notre Dame defense?
I'm sorry, the Ohio State defense is really, really good.
Right.
And that running back from Notre Dame, he's special.
Right. And Ohio State would say, yeah, we think our quarterback and wide receivers are special. All right, let's go. Meanwhile, if it's Ohio State and Oklahoma, it could be the first one to 20 wins, because that could be a phone booth game.
That would be a slobber knocker.
Yes, it would.
It really would. So those are just some of the things that the playoff committee will be working through. But a couple of things we're looking at to see who is where tomorrow, because it affects everyone. If Miami somehow thinks they can be ACC number 2 because they beat Notre Dame, where are they ranked tomorrow? Where are they putting the BYU and the Utahs of the world? For that matter, is Vandy ahead of the BYUs and Utahs of the world? That bottom part of the pecking order, we think means a lot. And USC and Michigan are raising their hands saying, if we win out, don't we deserve a seat at the table too?
I got a funny feeling that Vandy is the SEC safeguard that keeps out the second bid from both the Big 12 and the ACC. And the SEC goes, yeah, and they're our 6th place team. And that's why we're going to get 5. Miller and Moulton, are you ready for this? Next.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think it's a combination of both, Sonny. Their running backs aren't as good as they were a year ago, there's no doubt, but their offensive line's not given the push that they've had. All right. I don't think you can count the Lions out either, Panda, when it comes to that division. Let me just give you what the Bears have ahead of them. They play the Steelers. Now, they can beat the Steelers, but it's not an easy win. They're at Philadelphia. We'll give them a loss there, so we say 1-1. They go to the Packers. I'm going to give them a loss there. They go to the Browns. That's 2-2. I'll even say they split with the Packers because they host them again, 3-2. They go to the 49ers, 3-3. If they beat the Lions, that's 4-3 the rest of the way. That's being pretty, I think, pretty glass half full.
Talking the Bears?
Yeah, that gets them to 4. That gets them to 11. The Packers have the Vikings at home. That should be a win. Let's say they lose at the Lions, 1-1. The Packers got a tough schedule because they play the Ravens. Detroit would have to win 5, including beating the Bears, to do it. The Lions play the Giants, the Packers at home, the Cowboys at home, at the Rams, the Steelers at home, at the Vikings, at the Bears. I think the Lions have the best shot to win that division instead of Chicago. I'm not saying they will, but I think they have a better shot than the Packers based on who they play. You probably get pretty good odds right now taking the Lions to win that division.
Left Twix. Freeman was asked about it afterwards. He said he didn't have a problem with it. What he was mad about was during the week, the head coach was asked, because Pitt can still play for the ACC title. And he was asked, about the importance of this game. And he said, I'd much rather lose this game 101-10 and win the last 2. And as the Notre Dame head coach, Marcus took a little exception to basically, so our game doesn't mean anything? Really? And meanwhile, the Pitt coach was just trying to emphasize, it's not a conference game. Okay, this isn't our most important game the rest of the way. And so Freeman and Notre Dame was a little annoyed by that.
I got to say, when they showed the shot of, I was watching Game Day and they showed Freeman walking in. He just looks cool.
Doesn't he?
He had the shades on, tight suit. Just looked. I mean, he just
looks $1 million.
Yes, he does.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home on this Overreaction Monday. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So officially, what are the 2 poll questions again?
No, we only have one. You wanted a college one, but you never told me what it was.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've got one for Saturday.
And then I never told you.
Right.
That sounds like me.
So we have one question on this Overreaction Monday. Who is more likely to miss the playoffs, the Lions or the Chiefs? Right now, 84% of you saying the Chiefs. For the record, I did a little investigating during the break. The Lions right now are still the odds-on favorite, according to the Hard Rock app, to win their division. The Packers are second. The division-leading Bears are third. And a distant third. Both the Lions and Packers are in the plus 130 range. The Bears are plus 375. So if you think the Bears are going to get the horse into the barn, you might want to put a shekel or 2 on it. Although your odds would have been a hell of a lot better in September.
So Miller_Moulton, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on X. Please vote accordingly. All right, heading to break. I asked the question, are you ready for this? Mark, this has an NCAA tournament feel. I think fan bases are getting excited of the fact that maybe the Bills won't win the East again and they'll be relegated to being a wild card. Hell, the Chiefs and Ravens might both miss the playoffs. Think about it. Who's been the big three in the AFC for basically this decade? And right now, the Bills would be a wild card and the Chiefs and Ravens are out. Mark, isn't that like the first round upsets in the NCAA tournament? And you're all jacked up and it's great. And then you look at who's around in the Sweet 16 and you go, wait a minute, where's North Carolina?
Right.
Where's Michigan State? Wait, they lost a 2-15 game? What? I need them in the Sweet 16.
I need to know who these teams are. I don't want to watch Danny Dimes, for crying out loud.
Right. So
I want to watch Mahomes.
Right. So with that in mind, and we'll just go with the standings today, okay? Denver would have the bye today. Now, if the Colts win their next game, they get even with Denver, they beat them head-to-head, the Colts would then have the one. But for today, Denver, with a better conference record, has the tiebreaker over New England for the moment. So Denver would have the bye. Are we ready for Patriots-Jags wildcard weekend? Are we ready for Colts-Chargers wildcard weekend? Are we ready for Steelers-Bills?
We saw that last year. How did that turn out?
Well, it hasn't worked out well for Pittsburgh in the playoffs for a while now, no matter who the opponent's been.
Right. Now, I will say, David, you just make a couple of simple changes.
Right.
And you have Baltimore hosting the rematch against the Bills in the 4-5 game. That gets a hell of a lot sexier really quickly.
It does.
And if the Chiefs can snag the spot from the Jags and you get some Patriots-Chiefs first round, that'll do a little bit more.
Or possibly,
I'd say it.
Does Denver end up the 2 and you end up with Broncos-Chiefs in the first round? It's why we have a diehard, we have a couple of them, but a diehard Broncos fan in our Twitch chat room. And he asked the question earlier, because the Chiefs play the Colts coming up this Sunday. And he's like, I want to be the 1 seed. Shouldn't I root against the Colts? But that means rooting for the Chiefs. And I'm like, no. You want the Chiefs to miss the playoffs.
Yep.
Because there's a very good chance if they sneak in that you're on their radar. And do you really, really want to play them a third time? Whether you go to Arrowhead and win or not, do you really want to play Mahomes in January? Really? I mean, that's like, all those years. Did you really want to play Brady and the Patriots?
But David, you gave us the AFC, and that doesn't have the same excitement. Can you tell me what the NFC looks like?
This regional in the NCAA tournament looks a lot different. It really does. Now, I will say, I was counting on the Lions being in the Sweet 16, and they're currently out. Mark, every now and then you get that 1-4-5 second round game in the NCAA tournament, and you go, wow, this could be a Sweet 16. This is a really good.
I can't believe Connecticut's playing Kentucky in the second round.
Right. Wow. One of them's a 5. Damn.
Right.
Or even the 3-6 matchup in which you go, that's a really good 6 seed. So the Lions are out today. They are.
Out.
The Eagles have the bye, but it's Rams-Niners. Boy, they don't play good games.
They don't like each other at all.
At all. Oh, no, wait. It gets better. Bears-Packers.
Right.
Now, I feel badly for the Seahawks, but let's face it, they're probably going to have to travel 2,500 miles at least, no matter where they go on the road and play. But Seattle would have to play at Tampa. And Tampa did beat them earlier in the year in Seattle, right?
Right. Different Tampa team then.
Well, there's no doubt. But
and Seattle, like you said, Seattle and the Rams was just a slobber knocker of a game.
I loved it.
It was just a tough game.
How we've commented, and I'm sure you've observed it as well, that you can hit the quarterback on Saturday a lot harder and a lot more often than you can on Sunday. The officials, to their credit, early in the game, let Darnold and Stafford know, hey, just so you know, we're going to treat this like a playoff game. You're going to get hit today. And you know what? We're okay with it. So I hope you guys are. And you're going to get hit hard, by the way. Hard. On Darnold's, I think it was third pick, Mark, he got hit about as hard as I think you can legally hit an NFL quarterback these days, because you can't drive them into the ground. Now, of course, on Saturdays you can. You can drive them into the ground, take a stake, and stab them in the neck. Okay, not on Sundays, as we all know. But, man, did those two quarterbacks get hit yesterday.
And I know I've seen it a lot, both on the text line and in the chat room. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, by the way. Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9-PELICAN. But I've seen a lot of people complaining about officiating, and it happens every Monday, and I get it. And there are plenty of reasons and plenty of calls that you can point to and say they were bad, because there were. And David and I have adopted the Bill Belichick, you should be able to challenge everything rule. And we've just kind of stuck by that. We don't get into it too much because I don't want to waste a whole lot of time talking about officials. However, I want to ask this question. David, when we get, what about one of every 10 plays gets a penalty right now, right? In both college and pro, maybe more, one of every 8?
Mark, I got to admit, it's in the Denver-Kansas City game, it seemed like every fourth play was penalized, but that's another story. But
no, but you know what I'm like, how many more flags can we throw?
Okay, in an average NFL game.
By the way, and you're right, in that game, there were 20 penalties that were accepted
in the Kansas City
Denver game. And there's an average about 120 plays in an NFL game, right?
Right. You give each team 60, and usually there's 12 to 14 penalties in a game. So on the high end, 14 penalties in 120 plays, that's 1 out of every 8.5 plays gets a penalty. If you go on the low end, that's 1 out of every 10 plays gets an accepted penalty. That's a normal game. The Broncos and Chiefs was twice as egregious from an officiating standpoint. Denver, I believe, Mark, was called for over 150 yards and penalties in the game and won. Now, 2 of them were long pass interferences. And I'll give Denver credit because they won. But, Mark, first series of the game, Denver came out man-to-man. And Mahomes went deep to Worthy and just missed him, and Worthy was open. And I remembered saying to my buddy, we were sitting at the sports book, and I said, if Denver's going to play like that, they're going to throw 12 bombs because Mahomes thinks he's either A, going to complete a couple, or B, he's going to get PIs on a couple. And they got 2 long PI penalties, and they completed 2 long ones as well. But Denver just said, we don't think much of your receivers. We are manning you up.
And I guess, and look, I'm not trying to say that the referees are doing a good job. All I am saying is how many more, as you as a fan who complain about non-calls or calls that are made that you don't think should be calls, how much more laundry do we want on the field? Because there's a lot already. That's all.
And remember,
that's the 20,000-foot view, if you know what I mean. That's right. Not a particular game. That's just looking at the whole weekend.
And I believe I'm speaking for Mark when I say this is a Miller and Moulton consensus. We want the Belichick proposal from a decade or so ago to be adopted, where you can challenge anything. If they were to do that, which we don't think they ever will, by the way, but if they were to get there, the one place they're not going to go, they're not going to allow you to challenge or reverse non-calls. And I saw, and I think we all did, not just this weekend, I think we'd see it most weekends, they miss a lot of face masks. It's not easy to officiate, I get it, but man, there's a lot of, you would see face masks that seem more obvious than others. It's one thing, the running back kind of in the pile, okay. But when you see heads that are turning and twisting, it's like, wow, you missed that? That seemed pretty obvious to me. But anyway, but remember, that ain't ever happening. We ain't taking non-calls and making them calls.
But you know what's wild? And I get it. They miss calls or they make calls that aren't penalties. You go back to that Indiana-Penn State game and the 2 catches at the end of the game where a guy barely gets his foot in on the outplay to the tight end and then the one in the back of the end zone, and they get those right.
They did.
And they get them right. We don't have to overturn them because they did their job. It's not easy. That's all I'm saying. It's a hard gig, and I don't know if we want more laundry on the field. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com. Thanks for listening.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Javier, outcomes or plays? and I know there's, I guess, one call late that decides the outcome, but one call early that's bad doesn't. That's, you got to look at the whole 60 minutes. And I get it. I know exactly with you in Florida, there are particular plays that you can point out. I get it. I just don't. I don't know. You're probably right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us on this Overreaction Monday. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I come at you from Vegas. Monday Night Football tonight. It's a game that, well, doesn't mean much except potential draft position. But maybe it'll be entertaining, and who knows? Maybe some of you, your fantasy outcomes depend on the Cowboys and Raiders tonight, 8:15 Eastern on ABC and ESPN. What a glorious football weekend. And tell you what, way to go, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
All right. Coach who was on the hot seat when the season started, and now you got people asking the question, how has Dabo Swinney done since he lost Brent Venables? I will say it's the question they're asking in Green Bay. Check out Matt LaFleur's record without Aaron Rodgers. All right. That's now people are asking that in Clemson. Check out Dabo's record without Venables. I love sports. Love sports. You're a hero. You're fantastic. You're really not that good. You're really not. You're overrated, in fact. Why did we give you a long-term contract? What were we thinking?
I'll tell you, team, I don't know how you rate them, but Georgia Tech, they see Saturdays when the Broncos win all these one-score games, we applaud them.
Right.
When you do it on Saturday against much inferior opponents, we question you.
Right. Right. Hey, you're winning ugly, man. You can't win ugly. Expect to move up the rankings winning ugly? Well, isn't the name of the game winning? Well, not ugly.
Not the way you're winning.
Right. Bill O'Brien's probably going to get fired. At least Bill O'Brien's going out being Bill O'Brien, though. All right. That's a pretty big 15-yard penalty at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Okay. Georgia Tech didn't need the jump start.
No.
They were down 2 scores. They didn't need help. And you decided to give it to them. I will say, okay, bravo. That's top 5 coaching sideline tantrum of all time. That was amazing. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Bill O'Brien, Boston College head coach, end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth against Georgia Tech. Let me tell you, broke the headsets and everything.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, a distant second for you golf fans. Go look up the kid Smiley's club throw at the tournament in Bermuda. That was a launch.
Okay. Did you ever throw a club?
Yes, I've thrown clubs.
Okay.
Not helicoptered 30 yards thrown. Whip it back at the bag, throw.
Right.
When you're carrying your own clubs, you give it a good backhand. But I don't think I've ever helicoptered. I will say, when I played golf in high school, I'm playing in a 2-man scramble. And there was a par 4. You had to hit the second shot over water. And my partner just fatted a 7-iron right in the middle of the drink and just looked at me and let the 7-iron go right into the middle of the drink.
There you go.
We didn't say anything to one another. He just gave me that look like, did I just do that? And he let the club launch, and he was a pretty calm guy. And then we just kind of laughed and finished our round.
I was going to say, he looked at you like, rest of the hole's yours. I did, by the way. I have I did back in the day. Yeah, my mid-teens, I let a few clubs go. Okay, so much so that my grandfather didn't play a round of golf with me for 2 years. 2 years as a teen, 16 to 18 years of age. Okay, the guy in my life was so fed up with my behavior on the golf course. He said, "It's embarrassing. I don't want
So
to
you
play
did
golf
it with
with you."
him?
I did one time.
Oh, see, now I played golf with my father a lot, and I was, my dad's been dead for 7 years. I'm still scared to death of him. Um, I never acted that way around my father because I was scared. I did one time in a tournament, and he found out, and the tongue lashing I got from Dad on how to act on a golf course kind of took those anger management issues to a new level.
In fairness to me, I never helicoptered it in front of my grandfather, but I did, slam it onto the bag. Okay, throw it at the bag. I did do that stuff. Yeah, he was not having it at all. But if you check out the guy throwing the club it's Bermuda, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he held onto the club way too long. I think he meant to do what your buddy did. I think he meant to throw because what did he chunked a chip?
Chip a big. He'd already screwed up an easy hole, but it was his third shot, and it was an elevated green, and he chipped it just short of the top, and it rolled back down and rolled into the water.
Right. And so he's staring at it. It rolls into the water, and he's facing the water. And he winds up, and he is going to let it go. And I think he held on to the club too long.
He hooked it. He hooked the club throw. It's hard when you're throwing a club to hook it, but I think he did too, David.
Think about it. You've got the club in your hand. You're staring at the pond. The only thing really from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock in your life is the pond. And you wind up, a full wind up with the club, and you are going to let it fly, and you throw that sucker to 7:30.
Right.
Okay, and you miss the pond entirely.
Whereas Bill O'Brien, with his nutty, did everything correctly in terms of blowing up. A terrific headset slam.
Awesome. Right. And throws it onto the field. Okay, too. It has to walk out onto the field to pick up the pieces. Yes.
By the way, on that note, as far as nutties, I'm watching because I have to. The Pittsburgh game gets the volume in our house, even though it was the fourth best game at 1 o'clock. But it had the volume because the wife pays the bills, let's be honest. And I had some people, but we're all knocking Ramsey for throwing the nutty. You can't do that. You can't do that. Well, upon further review, he got spit on, and the video shows it.
Yeah, it did. And he gets ejected for punching Chase, but he goes, he spit on me, right?
And there's there's a low camera angle that shows, you can see the saliva leave one man's helmet heading towards another man's helmet.
Right. Here's my question. If you're the league, what do you do?
Well, isn't there precedent? Isn't that a game?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Okay. That's what I'm wondering. Now, I will say we can go all the way back. Didn't Romanowski do it to like J.J. Stokes?
Oh, yeah. That was right in his face. That was disgusting.
And at the time, I think he got like a $10,000 fine, and that was it. Okay. But recently, right? Didn't they?
We had one this year.
Right. So I'll be curious what happens.
Jalen Carter spit on the guy.
Right. Yeah. First play of the game, right?
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, right? First game of the year.
Right.
Right. It was before he took his first snap. This just in, by the way. Those two defensive tackles are a problem. To think that they used to play against college players. Okay. And we wondered why Georgia started winning national championships. I don't think we really need to wonder. This was not a great mystery. Have you seen the two big fellas in the middle of the defensive line? It's tough to do anything on offense because you can't block them.
No, and Jalen Phillips is looking over going,
this is fantastic.
they're getting double teamed. So I can do this.
I'm no better.
I'm in the backfield again, everybody.
I'm no better than the third best D lineman on my team. This is fantastic because I'm pretty good.
Right. And I love the coach. I played great for him a couple years ago. I know exactly what we're doing. I stepped right in, and I'm really good now.
Yep.
Third rounder. Third rounder.
And instead of playing for Scarface over there, I'm playing here in Philadelphia.
Miller and Moulton. Overreaction Monday. Thanks for listening.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power Four teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance for tickets. Go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it
Mark
real.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, I made up with YouTube TV. I'm not happy, but I mean, I never got rid of YouTube TV, Adam. So I still have that. I dropped ESPN Unlimited already. I'll wait till the end of the month when that runs out. I'll get the old ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, Hulu package back, and that's where we'll be. Because I'm not missing the hockey. That's what I've got the ESPN Plus for in the first place. So I need a Memphis win over Navy.
Which is possible.
And I need Tulane to lose against Temple. And Temple's not awful.
Yeah, that's a big ask.
Well, that's what the kid needs. They're at Temple. I will say at least it's a road game.
Okay. So.
And, of course, ECU's got to win out, which they can, lose to anybody. But North Texas ain't losing.
It's so funny. So they're going to finish with one loss. And that one loss was South Florida going to Denton, Texas, and beating the snot out of North Texas. And they spotted North Texas like 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
And I think they beat them by 30.
36. It's final.
How much?
63-36.
Right. They beat them by 4 touchdowns, and they spotted them either 14 or 21 points. Unbelievable.
And North Texas plays at Rice and home against Temple. So I guess, Temple's got to pull an upset up for East Carolina. I got to tell you, I watched a good chunk of that East Carolina-Memphis game, and I know it's Atlantic, and I was watching it just for the kid because of the 3:30 games that got one of the TVs. It was physical. Those two teams were hitting. It was fun. They got after it. ESPN Unlimited is the new ESPN app, Adam. That gives you everything. You don't need a cable service to get, all of the ESPN family of channels and then all of the plus stuff. Yes, it was blocked out because RCB, we are a Panthers market, and it was on that Laugh or whatever the hell, whatever that channel is that carries the Panthers. That's how you would have had to watch it. I don't know how. I mean, I was kind of monitoring it. There weren't any fights. That doesn't mean it couldn't have been physical, but it wasn't what we thought it was going to be, if you know what I mean.
Well, remember, you got no Kachuk. And who else are we missing?
Barkov, he didn't fight.
Right. Man, if it wasn't for Brad Marchand, my God.
I saw the best video. He had his daughter on. It might be old, but he had his daughter on the ice with him. He's in shorts and skates and just goofing around. She's laying on the ground. He is taking a stick and whirling her around in a circle. Then he's grabbing her by her skates, dragging her around. It was just a cute video. It's like, that's just awesome. David, I will, let's see. We may be up to 5. Let's see. 3. We are at 5 teams under 500 with Toronto now 8-9-2.
Wow.
Because we all saw the division with the Lightning, Panthers, and Leafs right now. Top 3 are Bruins, Red Wings, Canadiens.
Oh, yeah. We all saw that one coming.
Right.
The Bruins shocks me. I thought they'd be bad.
Everybody did.
Yeah. I thought Montreal would be good. Okay,
I agree.
Like, I was high on the Devils and the Canadiens this year to be.
But like Pittsburgh right now, they're in 3rd. They weren't supposed to be good. They're 10-5-4. I mean,
I know. I will say, I don't know how good my Rangers team is. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're not that good. They are tough.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. Diamond District bonus hour coming up at the top of the hour.
Just want to let you know, David, today is National Homemade Bread Day, and I will be making a loaf of bread later today, just so everybody knows.
All right. Very impromptu here. Feel free to text in. Who do you guys make bread at home? Not have you ever, but I mean semi-regularly. Does someone in your family even? I count mom, count grandma. Does someone in your family fairly regularly bake bread?
David, I haven't bought. I think in the last 6 months, we've probably bought 1 loaf of bread. Like, I make bread every week. Every week.
Wow. That is mind-boggling to me. Mr. Drive-Thru. Mind-boggling to me. I mean, my grandmother would do the bread. I don't even know. Did she do the bread for the extra thick French toast, or did she just go to this one place and buy it? I mean, and her French toast was amazing. But, wow, really? I would be very curious. Anyway, you can go 3 generations deep in your family. Okay, if you're a parent and your son or daughter bake the bread, if you need to go down, that counts. Okay, honestly, baking of bread, this would fascinate me. This is, kid who grew up, it was just me and mom. Mom worked, didn't cook after I was 9. The whole baking of bread thing, to me, that's like Little House on the Prairie. It's like, wait, what? You bake bread? And I'm sure it's amazing. I'm sure homemade bread is incredible. It's like when you go out in a decent restaurant and you get the good bread that's warmed up on the table and you're like, oh, this is living. I mean, I'll bet, Mark, your daughter, I just want to pull her aside and go, you have no idea how good you have it. I just want to let you know. Whatever.
You know what ticks me off about her, though? For whatever reason, she's the only kid in the world that doesn't like syrup. She doesn't like pancakes, nor does she like French toast. And I've been craving French toast.
Well, just cook it.
I know, but then I got to make something else for her.
Okay. Well, no, I tell you a little story.
No, I know. I know. I don't live in that world. I know what you're saying. Eat what's on your damn plate or you get nothing. Yeah, I know.
My mother, twice a year, would just feel like having liver and onions.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, my goodness.
First off, it totally smelled. We lived in
a house up to high heaven.
And we lived in 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. There wasn't much to smell up. And let me tell you, it smelled it up for 3 days. Okay. But my mom felt like having liver and onions. She didn't have to answer to anybody in the house. Okay.
My mother and father loved it. My dad especially. And usually I would get a leftover of some sort, so I didn't have to eat it, because it's the worst thing in the world to me. Like, that's it. You want to punish me? Make me eat liver and onions for a week. That is the one meal that didn't make it. There's a bunch of meals, like the tuna casserole, the liver and onions. They didn't make it out of the 70s, and there's a damn good reason they didn't. By the way, text line blowing up.
Right. Of course. It doesn't have anything to do with sports. Right.
This guy, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, by the way, 21,000 is the number. If you've not texted the show, you need to text the keyword Miller.
Yes, please type in the keyword Miller, because what was the subject last week and all the texts went to our buddy in Michigan?
Cheese whiz.
Okay, so now if we bombard him 3-4 days later with bread, okay, please send us the keyword Miller so they go to us, because that would be very funny.
This guy says wife makes sourdough all the time. She's got a very good starter. I have not jumped into the sourdough. I would like to. Don't have the starter. This person says don't make my own bread, but very interested in trying. Grandma used to make hers. Loved it growing up. Chat room blowing up with all these people. I have a chef in our chat room who says I don't even make my own bread. Questions
Thank you,
Pete.
Javier.
Do I use a bread maker or I do use the oven? The answer is actually yes. I have a bread maker, but I have found I just use it to make the dough now. And then I've been making either a French a loaf or an Italian loaf, and those go in the oven.
Mark, a
mutual you get the friend, proper size.
Mark, a mutual friend, texted me and said, wife makes bread weekly. Pizza dough, sourdough. Is it focaccia?
Focaccia, yeah.
Focaccia? Okay. So, yeah. So, okay. I to me, that's like,
David, you should go out on a limb, buy your wife a bread maker for Christmas.
What are you trying to do? Okay. What are you trying to do? Okay. What have I done to you recently for you to suggest that? I mean, just because I said cook your damn French toast, and if your daughter doesn't want any, just grab the cereal then. Knock yourself out. There's a bowl, there's a box of cereal, and a bread, milk. Knock yourself out. Okay. Your mother and I are having French toast, and we're not apologizing for it. In fact, it's good that you don't like it. It's just more for us.
David, you might find this either normal or shocking, but if I were to do French toast and you said tell the daughter to eat cereal, do you know what we don't have in our house ever? Cereal.
Really?
Ever.
Oh my goodness.
The wife actually makes the daughter breakfast every day of the week. They both have a cooked breakfast every morning before they leave for school and work.
Okay. It's very obnoxious of me to tell you, to give you any parenting, advice. So I'm not going to do that. How about if I just throw this out there, though? She has 7 years till college. Okay. And mom is not going with her. I'm just saying, okay, you may somewhere in the next 7 years, an adjustment in her lifestyle needs to be made. That's all. You got time, plenty of time. I'd recommend a box of cereal and cook as much French toast as you want. Miller and Moulton on this Overreaction Monday, and I'm buying my wife a bread maker. Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
It's the level of hilarity that is to
I-
me, because I can just picture your wife, big box,
Yeah.
and open up and see a bread maker, and I'm not sure if she would kick it or try to pick it up and throw it at
Right.
you.
And what I would do is take the signs that she made for me a couple weeks ago, and I would take them back out and I would tape them and go, "This is the oven. This is the stove." Okay, right. Yeah.
Now, for the daughter and son-in-law, they might really enjoy a bread maker.
Right? No.
And for those of you asking, banana bread counts. If you're making banana, is it something you can put on a sandwich? Hell no. But if you're making banana bread, you're making bread.
Man, this is just, I am living in the minors. You guys are the majors, man. I'm impressed. I really am. I mean, I think this is more impressive than Oklahoma going into Alabama and getting a W Saturday. All the bread making that you guys do, I'm very impressed. You're in the playoff, all of you. I'm putting you in the playoff at my expense too. I thought I was going to be in the playoff. No way. You all deserve to be in the playoff. I'm impressed. Now I'm hungry too. But
You're only an hour and 15 minutes from breakfast, big fella.
That's
and you've
right.
already said you got a great breakfast joint in Vegas tonight. Vegas and Dallas. Normally we spend a minute or two previewing the Monday Night Football game. Today I'm not sure we're going to, because I'm not sure how many of you even care about the Monday Night Football game. And I'm also talking to my co-host.
In fact, here's what I'm going to recommend at the production meeting this morning. That since those of you who were involved in the, what was it, YouTube TV and Disney dispute, which wasn't settled until when? What, Thursday, Friday?
I might have been Saturday morning.
Okay.
Friday night or whatever.
You've missed the last two Monday night games, one of which was a Cowboys game and they lost. But you missed last week's Eagles-Packers game. So what I'm going to recommend at the production meeting this morning is that we not televise, the Dallas Raiders game tonight, and we re-air the Packers-Eagles game that millions of you missed last week. That's what I'm going to recommend in its place.
Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. I'm a Dallas fan. Way more interested in the bread conversation. Well played, sir. Well played. And we also got a little bit of hell from someone because we're looking into the future. And it doesn't like the what if segments. Well, when it comes to college football, I don't know how else you approach it. Because the playoff committee is going to do whatever they do tomorrow. And it doesn't really matter. What matters is how things look going forward. Does Miami have a way to get in? How many ACC teams can get in? And how do they maximize it? Can 2 from the Big 12 get in? These are all, can 5 from the SEC get in? That's where we're at right now in college football. So if we're going to talk about Saturdays, you kind of have to play the what if game.
See, this is where, and Mark, you might disagree with me here, because when it comes to showing a little more decorum, that's usually your job. I'm the one that flies off the handle more often. But this is where I think if you're the commissioner of the ACC, you have to be publicly saying certain things. Like, I'm going after Vandy if I'm the commissioner of the ACC. And I am publicly saying, why is Vandy ranked ahead of Miami and Georgia Tech? Could somebody explain that? And rattle off, first off, Georgia Tech has 1 loss, correct?
Right.
Vandy has 2. Secondly, give me the win for Vandy that's better than Miami's best win. Now, there's no doubt Vandy lost what? At Alabama and they were down big. And
they lost to Texas and came back and made it really close, but they were down big in that game. But their two losses are both, I guess Bama beat them pretty good, but the other one's a close loss against Texas.
But it wasn't really. They were down like 21 with 10 minutes to go. Okay, and because right now my two best teams in the polls are behind Vandy. So I would be taking on publicly. I'd be taking it on right now. And I would love to get into a war of words with Sankey over Vandy. And I would just say, who have they beaten? And I'd look at the committee and go, Miami beat Notre Dame. Do we think Vandy's going to beat Notre Dame? Do we? And I would challenge them because I got to get ahead of Vandy if I'm going to have any shot of getting an at-large, of getting a second team in the party.
And I love and I'm actually with you when it comes to the ACC. I think you're onto something there. I don't think your mark in the Big 12 have the same argument because when you look at their one-loss team in BYU, their best win is Utah, no doubt. After that, I guess it's Iowa State or TCU. I mean, there's not a lot there so the Big 12 argument is much tougher to try to get two teams in than, to me, the Miami argument is.
But here's what the Big 12 has going for them. BYU, their second team, is already one spot ahead of Vandy. Okay, so in essence, I don't have to make it. BYU just has to keep winning and get in the conference title game. And in theory, if they win it, they'll be in, and I'll get two because Texas Tech will still get a bid, right?
Right.
That's what I'm hoping.
Right.
So, but if I'm the ACC right now, I don't have a single team in my conference ahead of Vandy. And Vandy is the 6th SEC team. Okay, I got to make that, and I got to make it now. I got to win this fight now when there's two more polls still to come out. I got to get my teams ahead of Vandy now.
And, you could make the same argument for Petiti looking at Michigan and comparing their record with Vanderbilt's and the teams they lost to Oklahoma. Vandy didn't play Oklahoma.
And I do think that, listen, the SEC is the best conference. We think that. It's the deepest conference. We think that. But they are getting a little more credit than they deserve. They really are. I mean, for that matter, Ole Miss has only beaten one ranked team. Now, it was an impressive win, and it's getting better by the day because they went to Oklahoma and they armbarred Oklahoma. They were 2 scores better in Oklahoma. And that's looking better by the day. But I just think some of these conferences need to stop playing nice.
Miller and Moulton. We never play nice. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe
and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I'm still laughing over your wife opening a bread maker at Christmas.
Oh, my God.
God, that would be funny. Thank you, Javier. I just want the people who text to go that their texts aren't being ignored because I did answer his, but I don't know how you look ahead without playing the what if game. It's part of looking ahead. Right now, I'm fascinated. If BYU goes 11-1 and loses to Texas Tech twice convincingly, do they get a bid?
And let's be honest, they won't at the expense of Alabama. That's the madness that Oklahoma created Saturday.
And they really did, David. You got that right.
They have now moved Alabama into the position of being the fifth team for the SEC.
And I don't see a way in hell that the committee is going to have BYU ranked ahead of Alabama tomorrow. I don't see it.
Okay, fam forever. I'm at a loss here. I thought last year I thought Bama was the first team out, Miami was the second team out, and South Carolina was the third. So I don't remember BYU being first team out last year at all.
I will say this is the dud week of college. This is the Saturday you can go back and reintroduce yourself to your family.
Well, it's funny. I think we have the best game of the week.
I don't think I know you have the best game of the week.
Which was good because we had the worst game of the week last week. Yeah, I thought last year Bama was first team out, Miami was second team out, South Carolina was third team out.
Yeah, you're right.
With the final rankings and where it went and what have you, and that they chose SMU over Bama.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X on this Overreaction Monday, where right now the Lions, the Chiefs, and the Ravens are out of the playoffs. And right now, Alabama is hanging in the playoffs in college football by a thread. Wow. How about this season so far on Saturdays and Sundays, huh? Is it delivering or what?
No doubt. And there are a bunch of teams that we thought would be better that are looking for coaches right now. And we did, for the first time, both Miller and Moulton, for the first time, because we have thought Lane was staying at Ole Miss.
Yep.
I've been saying it for 2 years. David's been with me all of this year. Saturday was the first time when you listened to Lane post-game that you went, huh?
Yeah, even his actions walking off the field. And I just, for the first time, I thought to myself, is that a guy walking off this field for the last time? Because they play in Starkville. Now, they may get a home playoff game. I mean, so he may get one more game.
Yeah, I mean, if they win in Starkville, they're getting a home playoff game. You can book that.
Yep.
I mean, unless they're getting one, I guess the only way they wouldn't is somehow Alabama loses to Auburn, but they still don't go to the SEC championship game, so they're not getting a top 4.
No, there's no way that Ole Miss gets dropped below 8, which is.
But there's no way that they can get to 4, I don't think either.
Boy, it would be tough because then you would start to examine their resume, to be honest with you. And they only have one good win, and it's at Oklahoma, which looks a lot better now than it did 2 weeks ago. But, I mean, otherwise, Mark, their schedule is only a little bit better than Indiana's from last year. And we love Lane, and we like the SEC. But, Mark, this is who they've beaten. Florida, South Carolina. Their non-conference schedule was Georgia State, the Citadel, and Washington State, which isn't a power conference opponent anymore.
No, and they barely beat them.
Yes. They beat Arkansas. They beat Arkansas. They beat Kentucky. They beat Tulane.
Which isn't the win we thought it was going to be, because at the beginning of the season, people thought Tulane was probably the best group of 6 team. They're not.
So remember, they only play 8 conference games. Their non-conference schedule was Georgia State, Tulane, the Citadel, and Washington State. They beat Arkansas, Kentucky, South Carolina, Florida, LSU, and Oklahoma. Now, that's a better win on the road. Like Indiana's resume last year was a lot of that, and they beat Michigan at home, which looked a lot better at the end of the year when Michigan beat Ohio State. But this is not, like, I don't think you can give this resume a bye. Like, let's just say Georgia loses to Georgia Tech, or Georgia makes the SEC title game and loses. Okay, I don't think you can reward this schedule with a top 4 seed. I don't. I mean, I certainly couldn't put Ole Miss ahead of Texas Tech if Texas Tech runs the table.
Right. I will say, the overwhelming number 1 team in the country and deserving of it is Ohio State. Outside of the Texas win, take a look at that resume.
I understand, but they scheduled a home and home with Texas.
I got you.
Okay? I mean, but come on now.
No, okay. I know, but Penn State has 1 Big Ten win. That's not a quality win.
No.
At Illinois is their best win.
In conference, right. Either that or at Washington, but probably at Illinois.
That's all. I mean,
yeah.
The Big Ten has let Ohio State down.
Yes, absolutely. Same with Indiana, by the way. Indiana won at Oregon. And Okay, and
That's
terrific win.
by the way, that's the best in-conference win this year in the Big Ten.
Right.
You want to say Ohio State's win over Texas is the best win? Okay. The best conference win is Indiana going to Oregon and winning.
Well, I'll argue this. Is that the best in-conference win of the season? Oklahoma at Alabama?
Oklahoma at Alabama.
You think so?
Yes.
Oregon was undefeated when Indiana went in there.
I got you.
Okay.
Did we think anybody was playing better than Alabama in that conference before Saturday?
It's true, and they'd rattled off 8 in a row. Okay, I'll give you that. But so second best conference win of the year?
Okay. Unless it's Alabama at Georgia.
Well,
there's just more of them in the SEC that you can.
It is true.
You can go to so many games.
It is true. But what the madness that Oklahoma has now created, there's a lot of people who would be breathing a lot easier and be a lot happier today if Alabama had held serve at home, no matter how difficult it was. If they had just kicked that last field goal and won by 1. All right, but instead, Oklahoma gets the W. And now Oklahoma's got to be SEC team number 4, which makes Alabama SEC team number 5.
And that's bad news for BYU, Miami, name them, Georgia Tech. Whoever doesn't win the ACC, and it's not going to be Miami, they're not even going to get to the title game.
The other thing is it could potentially be bad news for is Oregon even. Like if Oregon loses one of their last 2 games, do you put Oregon in or Alabama?
Why not both? Who are you replacing Oregon with? Because right now, Alabama would have the last spot. Okay, if we take the AP ratings, and I know the playoff committee comes out tomorrow, but the playoff committee's rankings have looked an awful lot like the AP rankings. Right. So Alabama's 10. If Oregon loses to USC, are they? I know what you're saying, but USC isn't going to jump 8 spots, are they? This is the same scenario of Miami and Notre Dame.
Well, Oklahoma was 11 spots behind Alabama, and now they're ahead of them. I mean, Mark, at the end of the day, it's kind of what we're waiting. We've been waiting for 2 weeks now, kind of like, is the committee going to take a closer look at Notre Dame versus Miami? And are they going to do something about it? I mean, what do you do if Michigan beats Ohio State with that 10-2? Now, Alabama's 10-2, I can argue, is better, but are you going to put a 4th team in for the Big Ten? You going to make room? You got to do it at the expense of somebody.
Because we'll repeat this. If Michigan wins out and beats Ohio State, they're playing for the Big Ten title against Indiana.
Are we? Do they get in? And they get in over Oregon because Oregon has, in theory, Oregon
maybe not. Oregon's got one loss. You know what, David? You're right. I mean, Oregon would have to lose to USC, and then I guess USC would go because they dominated Michigan.
And that's what I'm talking about. What the Oklahoma win is bad news for Oregon. I believe it forces Oregon now to win out, where it looked like Oregon could lose one of their last 2, and their 10-2 would still be good enough. I don't think it will now. If Oregon loses one of their last 2, home to USC, at Washington, Bama's 10-2, Oregon's 10-2.
Well, I would say both. I guess it depends how. If Oregon beats USC and loses to Washington, then I think Oregon would be, vulnerable. They would be in the top 10. If they lose to USC, it's the same argument we're having with Miami and Notre Dame. How can head-to-head just not matter?
Right. Because the one thing also, like, you can make the argument for both right now, only giving the Big 12 and the ACC 1 bid each. And looking at the polls, you could argue that because Alabama's ahead of every team in the Big 12 not named Texas Tech, and every single team in the ACC. But all we need is one upset in one of the two championship games. And now you've got major issues, and somebody has to be left home. It happened last year. Remember, Clemson beat SMU. They had to put Clemson in. And Alabama, who it looked like was in heading into conference championship Saturday, was left out on playoff Sunday.
That scenario means BYU beats Texas Tech in the revenge game. To me, there's no ACC scenario because it's only ACC's getting one, unless somehow they change their minds on Miami. Because Miami's not going to play in the conference title game. There doesn't seem to be a way for them to do that.
And, Oklahoma beating Alabama, we think is bad news for Georgia Tech. We thought Georgia Tech had two ways to get in. Win out in the regular season, that'd be 11-1 with a win over Georgia. We thought that would get them in. That even if they lost in the ACC title game, they would get the SMU treatment from a year ago. Now, you can't put Georgia Tech in at the expense of Alabama, can you, if they win out? So you beat Georgia. Yeah, so did Alabama. Alabama did it between the hedges. Then you want to go second best win, third best win? I mean, clear edge Alabama.
Yeah, Georgia's, I don't even know what their second best win is.
Right. And so
that's if they beat Georgia.
Great. And so we thought Georgia Tech had two ways to get in heading into Saturday, thanks to Oklahoma beating Alabama. Yeah, Georgia Tech's got to win the ACC.
But if Texas Tech, I think BYU is going to get bounced if they don't win the last game of the regular season, if you will. If they don't win the Big 12 championship, I just don't see them getting in. I think they'll be outside when it starts, and they'll stay outside. It won't be like SMU last year.
I agree with that. I think that what Oklahoma beating Alabama has done is, unless there's an upset in the Big 12 or ACC title game, we got to put Bama in, and that's 5. Now do the math. That means it's 5-3, 1-1-1-1. At which point they immediately sit down and vote to expand next year's tournament to 16. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real. The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, too bad Michael already left because I had a little trivia question that's right up his alley. Right now, who has the second best record in the NBA? Oklahoma City has the best record in the NBA. That's right. It's your Detroit Pistons with the second best record in the league right now. Since no one was playing, I just figured I'd give you the answer. Since it didn't seem like you cared. And if you were to ask who has the second best record in the NHL, while it's a tie in points by winning percentage, it is Seth Everett's New Jersey Devils.
Javier, and I'm sorry if you've already had this discussion. What have you seen that makes you think the NBA is starting to figure out how to stop him?
Because, by the way, that dunk and one over Draymond was sensational. And Draymond trying to get in his face. Get over yourself, Draymond. You old, okay? I love you, Draymond. You're a Spartan and you're from Saginaw, but you old.
And he got 8 inches on you, man. I mean, that's just, might have 9 or 10. Seriously, Javier, he's got the dunk of the year in the NBA, and he had a step back 3 to ice a game, all in the last week. Well, he strained a calf. Javier, there's no doubt he has to get stronger. There's no doubt. He's going to have to physically beef up, and everybody's just going to try to bang him as much as you're allowed to these days. But Javier, I don't know, man. He's 7'5", and he can shoot. That's a problem. That's a real problem.
And Deadstroke, no, I don't think that. I just asked if anybody could guess who the second best record in the NBA was, and it is your Detroit Pistons. No, I do not think they can keep it up. They're way over their skis, but they're beating Philly when they play them. I mean, they're doing a decent job against the good teams right now and beating all the bad ones, and there's a lot of those in the East.
If the playoffs started, if everybody was healthy and the playoffs started right now, wouldn't you have to say they're the third best team in the East? Some combination, Knicks, Cavs, and then Pistons. In the playoffs.
I might even, yeah. Oh, yeah. I might take Milwaukee over them in the playoffs. I mean,
I don't think I would, but okay.
But I know what you're saying. Enough. By the way, Seth's Devils, by winning percentage, the second best team in the NHL right now.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Do we need these two teams or one of them to get good again soon? And by these two teams, I mean the two that are playing tonight where I am in Vegas, the Cowboys and the Raiders. I mean, is this league so good, so big, that they don't need one of these two teams to get good in the next 2 years? Can they continue to have the Cowboys be, even when they won 12 games in the regular season, Mark, they never won more than a playoff game. So they've really been an above average curiosity for most of the last, 20 years.
Right.
Maybe a good curiosity. They've had a lot of good seasons, but they've done no damage in the playoffs. They've been a good, entertaining curiosity. And the Raiders, quite frankly, this is a completely lost generation.
Yes. In fact, David, as I have one of my favorite websites up this time of year, tankathon.com, that reveals the 2026 NFL draft order. Right now, the Raiders are picking 6th, but if they lose tonight,
right,
depending on how that works, they're going to be, they could still be 6th. They could go as high as 3rd. I don't know how the strength of schedule will work out for them. But right now, the Titans at 1-9, first overall pick.
Right.
Your Giants at 2-9, second overall pick.
Nice.
And then Cleveland, New Orleans, and the Jets round out the top 5. Vegas could go to 2-8 and join them with the loss tonight. Miami, glad you asked, after that win, they are now picking 11th.
Unbelievable. They were 5th 2 weeks ago, and they've started to win meaningless games. What are you doing? McDaniel's the owner loves him for some whatever reason. He's going to finish 7-10. That means winning 5 of his last 8. Just like last year when he won 6 of his last 9.
Oh, yeah. Speaking, David, because off of the bye, they play the Saints at home.
Yep. And then they play the Jets.
Right. Now it's at the Jets.
Yep.
And they still have a game with the Bungles left at home. By the way, that'll be flexed out of Sunday night.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to assume. Listen, those Steelers tickets you have Monday night against the Dolphins,
I think we've already sold them, thank God.
I was going to say, because I think that game's getting moved to Sunday at 1 o'clock, but we'll see. That's a great Sunday of NFL games. And I know nobody flexes out of a Steelers game, but let me tell you, okay, if you could air Bills Patriots in its place, I think you'd flex out of a Steelers game.
Right, because there's 2 1 o'clock games, right?
Chargers, Chiefs, and Bills Patriots.
Right.
Yeah.
One of those is going to be Monday night. Write it down.
Come on. Over Dolphins Steelers? Right. Come on. Over you could air a Chiefs game, or you could air the Bills Patriots over Dolphins Steelers?
Yeah, that's getting flexed out.
I think it is.
By that point, the Steelers, they could have lost to the Ravens. They could be out of first place, out of the playoffs. So, yeah.
And I know it's the Steelers. I know. But listen, Monday Night Football is only flexed out of one game. Since they've had the power to flex out, it's either been 2 or 3 years. They've only flexed out of one game. Just so you know, it was a Chiefs game. But they were playing the 3-12 Patriots, and they flexed out of it for a different game. If you could flex out of a Mahomes game, you can certainly flex out of a Steelers game.
I will say our over-under bets are looking good, David, on the season. We bet the Giants to go under 5.5.
Yes.
I like where we're at.
I do too.
We bet the Saints to go under 6.5.
Oh, start spending that money, baby.
I like where we're at.
Yep.
And we bet the Dolphins to go under 8.5.
Start spending it now. Just start spending it.
We get a lot wrong on this show,
Nope.
particularly when it comes to wagers. David, 9 picks. But
hey, I got as many right as you did.
you're right. You and I had the same number of correct winners.
Right.
I had
Great.
5 picks. You had 9.
Correct.
Lee Sterling, also a 3-2 week, but he got his game of the week right.
By the way, isn't this like a golf handicap? You play from the blues or the blacks, and I play for the whites. In fact, I may get moved up. I may be playing for the Reds soon.
It is something. It just is. I mean,
Nope.
it was a rough week for you, David, because not only were you 3-6 in your picks against the number.
Oh, yeah.
But you and I differed on 4 games. One of those games is tonight. You took Las Vegas. I took the Cowboys. The other 3 that we differed on, I've won all 3. We are back to square heading into tonight, and you could cough up a 3-game lead in 1 week.
That sounds very Moulton-esque. If I do say so myself. I hate to go third person, hate to channel my inner LeBron, but yes, it's a very Moulton-esque right there. Well, I will say when we did the picks and I looked and I go, wow, I took 4 underdogs that we disagree on. I go, man, I need and remember, I ain't getting any points here. I need the underdog to win outright. Home teams went, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Home teams went 7-6 so far in the NFL this weekend. Obviously, we don't count the Dolphins win in Madrid. And if you just took the points, you're 8-6 so far in NFL games this week.
So Philadelphia with, there were 2. I mean, Denver and Philadelphia, the signature wins over the weekend. And don't count out what the Jags did. The Jags, after blowing that huge lead, and some idiot radio host said they were done. That's it. This is Chicago from a year ago. Stick a fork in the Jags. I don't know who that moron was. Oh, it was me. But they pounded the Chargers yesterday.
Okay. In fairness, both of us, and I picked the Jags to win 9 games this year and miss the playoffs, but I picked them to win 9. Both of us thought Friday the Jags were missing the playoffs. If I say right now the Chiefs are 5-5, they have a challenging schedule the rest of the way, but they're the Chiefs. Say they go 5-2 in that schedule.
Okay.
That's 10.
Right.
Well, then if the Jags get to 10, they're in. Can the Jags get 4 more?
What's interesting is they'll have to do, to me, some of it on the road. Next 2 games are 2 winnable games, but they're both on the road. They play at Arizona and then at Tennessee. They come back for 2 at home. They host the Colts. They host the Jets.
Okay. Say they split on the road and they split at home. Lose to the Colts, which they always do, by the way, and beat the Jets. So now they're 8-6. Give me the last 3.
At Denver.
8-7.
At Indianapolis.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
Home for the Titans.
So they got to win one. They either have to just sweep this 2-game roadie
or somehow find a way to split with the Colts.
Right. Okay. But let me listen. That's a lot better than what we thought Friday. A lot better.
But, Kansas City to win 5, they're going to have to win some games that are tough games as well. That means they beat the Colts this week at home. They've got to go to Dallas. So it's not a for sure thing that Kansas City can win 5 the rest of the way. Are the Jags going to be a playoff team?
At the Diamond District, we know what you want.
Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our diamond event, November 21st through 23rd.
This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Takori.
This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping.
More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it
Mark
real.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
By the way, I could see the last wild card in the AFC being a 9-win team. Like, I don't think the Chiefs are going 5-2. I don't think the Texans are going 5-2.
Well, also they play each other, so one of them, they would be tough for the other, whoever loses that game, to go 5-2. So, okay. All right, let's humor me.
Now, the Steelers could go 4-3 and get to 10 and still lose the division.
Huh. That is a fly in the ointment. Okay,
Because
can you
the
humor
Ravens-
me?
Yeah, I'll humor you.
Let's do the schedule game with the Chiefs.
All right, hang on. Let me get it. All right. Home for the Colts. At the Cowboys.
Say they split. Say they're split.
Home for the Texans.
7-6.
Home for the Chargers.
8-6. They've already lost to them.
At the Titans.
9-6.
Home for the Broncos.
10-6.
At the Raiders. You have them winning out.
Well, okay, you got to remember, this is a team that before this year went 17-3 in the division. 17-3 in the division against all three division teams over the last 10 years. And now you're telling me that they're going to get swept by either the Broncos or the Chargers, in which both teams have to come to Arrowhead to do the sweep.
I don't think the Chargers do, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos swept them. I wouldn't.
Okay, but then they can still get to 10.
No, I know. But that's beating the Colts this week. Are we sure about that?
No, I'm not. I said give me a split the next 10 days. Colts and then Thanksgiving in Dallas. Give me a split, 6-6. I'll have them losing to Denver. Fine. But then look at all the other games.
No, I got you.
Chargers, Titans, Raiders, and who else? Texans.
Cowboys.
No. That's part
Texans.
of the split.
Texans.
Yeah. So think about it. Titans, Texans, Raiders, Texans, Titans, Raiders, and they beat the Chargers because they don't get swept by them.
Right. No,
But like you pointed out, the stat of the day is the Chiefs in one-score games, and then you put it up against what heading into this year. I mean, what was it? They had won 17 in a row, something like that, one-score games. What, they win 11 of them last year? Went 11-0 in one-score games last year? There was a Chiefs fan right in front of us watching the game at the sports book. And he was cool. And late in the game, I leaned over and I said, "It's killing you that they're no longer what they were, isn't it?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "And it's real visible." He goes, "Yep." He goes, "I keep having things that we've done the last 5 or so years in my head, expecting it to happen, and it ain't happening."
Yeah, I'm sorry. Kelsey can't be your best receiver if you're going to win games. You know what I mean?
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done. We're out of here. That's it. We'll see you Tuesday. Miller and Moulton. On this Overreaction Monday, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question: they're both out of the playoffs at the playoffs started today, baby. One's the 8 seed, one's the 9. Which one you think is going to miss the playoffs more, Lions or Chiefs? The 2 1 seeds from a year ago both won 15 games in the regular season. Damn.
And 9 of 10 of you are saying it's the Chiefs that's going to miss the playoffs out of the 2. I agreed with you for what it's worth. I voted Chiefs.
I did as well. In fact, Miller and Moulton kind of think the Lions are still going to win the North.
So does Vegas. It's not a Miller and Moulton thing. Right now, the odds-on favorite to win the NFC North, according to the Hard Rock app at this moment in time, is the Detroit Lions.
Is this like when the Ravens were 2-5 and they were still the favorites to win the North?
Yep.
Guess what? They're a game back of the Steelers right now. Our $20. Who are you betting on, Ravens or Steelers?
Ravens. The value's on the Steelers, but the smart money's on the Ravens. Especially if Aaron Rodgers is going to be out and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer's got to get it done for him. But we shall see. They do play each other 2 more times. They have not played. And typically, the Steelers, even some bad Steelers teams, have figured out a way to get a split with the Ravens. It is interesting because I'm just trying to see how many teams get to 10 in the AFC. And could the Ravens and Steelers both end up at 10? And what would that mean for the Jags, Chiefs, etc., trying to get that last wild card spot?
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1869. The Suez Canal is open, connecting the Mediterranean and the Red Seas. Today in 1884, police arrest boxer John L. Sullivan in the second round of a match for being cruel.
Holy, they didn't even let the fight end?
1894, the Daily Racing Forum is founded. That's a pretty good run for a paper.
Yeah.
Couple of things, and I forgot to look up who they lost to. I might need to do that quickly. But the Boston Garden opened today in 1928. And after 23 years, Notre Dame finally loses a football game at home. I just don't have it who they lost to. 1928. 1940, the Packers become the first NFL team to travel by plane. Today in 56, Jim Brown had a pretty good day for Syracuse. They were playing Colgate, and he had a record, 43 points. That's right, he had 43 points in a game. 1968, one of the most famous or infamous moments in NFL history. NBC cuts off of the Raiders-Jets game to show us Heidi. The Raiders would rally and beat the Jets late in the fourth.
When they cut away, the Jets had just taken a 32-29 lead. It was late fourth. And the Raiders scored.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it was a fumble on the kickoff return or a pick six or what have you, but they scored, 2 touchdowns in 2 plays, and the finals 43-32, and most of America didn't see it and went crazy.
Crazy. Today in 73, David, Nixon tells the AP, people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. Today in 1974, Bonnie Bryant becomes the first left-handed player in history to win an LPGA Tour event. She had a 3-stroke victory in the Bill Branch Golf Classic right here in Fort Myers.
How about that?
Today in 1991, for the first time in the U.S., a condom ad aired. It aired none other than network of Fox. They called it Super Tuesday in the music industry today in 98. Garth Brooks released Double Live. Whitney Houston released My Love Is Your Love. Mariah Carey released Number Ones, Jewel's Spirit, and 3 soundtracks associated with the animated film Prince of Egypt, all released today in 98. And it was today in 2003 that the Terminator became the governor. Arnold Schwarzenegger sworn in as the 38th governor of the state of California.
Hey, once Jesse Ventura became governor of Minnesota, okay, all bets were off, baby.
Rock Hudson, Canadian troubadour Gordon Lightfoot, and Tom Seaver would have all celebrated birthdays today.
Oh, man, that's a nice little trio right there.
Martin Scorsese is 83. Danny DeVito and Lorne Michaels from SNL fame are 81. Elvin Hayes is 80. Butch Davis, 74. RuPaul is 65. Daisy Fuentes is 59. So is singer Jeff Buckley. Basketball coach Sean Miller's 57. And Reggie Wayne is 47. What did I miss, David?
Ah, man, you're all over it today.
Every once in a while.
All over it.
You got lefties winning LPGA tournaments, for crying out loud.
The Bill Branch Chevrolet tournament.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
All right. For the good today, fantastic story, by the way. We go to Collier County, where a 68-year-old man was found alive Saturday morning. He was reported missing on November the 7th. A volunteer search party found him. He was transported to the hospital. He is now safe. Matthew Bailey was his name, found in heavy brush in Collier County on Saturday morning. For the bad, we go to Amherst, Ohio, where staff was preparing breakfast for the school students right before first hour when a deer decided it wanted breakfast. It jumped through a plain glass window into the cafeteria. Apparently, there was some students and some staff in the cafeteria. Fortunately, they were able to get the deer out through a back door of the cafeteria. No one, including the deer, were injured. Finally, the ugly, we go to Miami, where Osvaldo Neves didn't get his soup, and he was pissed off. The 63-year-old man was arrested at a Miami assisted living facility after he erupted in anger over not getting his soup. The facility ran out of soup, and he was very upset. He began shouting and stood up and grabbed a decorative metal vase, and he threw it on the ground twice. That's when a male resident stepped in to try to protect two female employees. He picked up the vase and threw it at the man twice. I don't know how he kept getting the damn vase back.
Right.
But he hit him with both throws, once in the chest, once again on his left leg. Police were called, and the 63-year-old was taken to jail. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, November the 17th. And it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers. You hear the spots, great pay, great benefits. You can get overtime. Just don't run in to a South Carolina player while doing your overtime duty. Where can they get more information?
CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
By the way, for those wondering, I had to look it up quickly here. The 1974 Bill Branch Classic was played at Lockmore Country Club in North Fort Myers, not at the Fort, for what it's worth. Thought for sure it'd be at Fort Myers Country Club, but I had to double check that one.
Slow night in college hoop. Both UCF and FAU at home. UCF, like 12.5-point favorites against Greg Campy in Oakland. They always have a bad record this time of year because they played nothing but guarantee games for like the first 10 games of the year. But they usually win a couple of them. So be interesting if UCF can hold serve at home and do so in a big way. NBA tonight. Now, I'm pausing because, well, my computer's a little slow.
Oh, well, you can't have that, David. I mean, this is the time when we need some quick action.
I know. The Heat hosting the Knicks tonight at 7:30. Miami, a 1.5-point favorite. The Peacock early game is Milwaukee at Cleveland. And there is no late Peacock game. So, a couple of huge mismatches tonight. The 11-2 Pistons host the 1-12 Pacers, and the 13-1 Thunder visit the 2-11 Pelicans. Wow. Tough to get that big of a disparity this early in the season.
Vancouver going back-to-back. They beat the Lightning last night. They go across the alley and take on the Panthers tonight. Panthers are huge favorites in that game, minus 270 for what it's worth. Hurricanes and Bruins. Bruins off to a tremendous start. Nobody saw this coming. They were a team that's picked to not make the playoffs, and they are off to a terrific start. Carolina, one of the best teams in the conference, they're a heavy favorite on the road as well.
All right. Cowboys, Raiders, Dallas on the road, not a good team, yet they're a 3.5-point favorite over the 2-7 Raiders. I'm curious, Max Crosby and the boys, how much heat they can get on Dak. Not impressed with that Cowboys offensive line. Dallas 1-4 on the road.
Yeah, I don't know how much it matters. This Vegas team isn't very good.
No, you are right about that.
I mean, the Cowboy offense is still pretty good. I'll be interested to see what they can do because Vegas plays decent defense. I mean, they've got a good pass rush. They should be able to get after Dak. Can they run it against Vegas? The kid that's been running the ball has been doing a hell of a job this year for the Cowboys. So I can tell you this. I'll be watching Canucks Panthers.
So the Cowboys average 29 points a game. The Raiders average, I think, 15 and change. 15, like 0.4.
And the Cowboys have one of the bottom 7-8 defenses in the league. So can they? I mean, if you can score against anybody, Dallas is the team you can score against.
So Cowboys have lost 2 in a row. Raiders have lost 3 in a row. But it's Cowboys and Raiders. It's embrace the helmets. And this is a hell of a game with Tom Landry and John Madden on the sidelines.
How old school does Buck have to go for the Open to try to sell this sucker?
You just sell the soap opera. You do. You just sell the soap opera. Because both teams are that. How long is Brady going to allow something that he's associated with to suck before he goes, yeah, guys, everything I touch turns to gold? What's happening here?
They don't have a quarterback.
Well, hasn't that surprised you how Geno Smith has completely regressed? He had 3 solid seasons consecutively in Seattle. He did. Winning records all 3 years. And now he's terrible. I'm surprised.
I am as well. The offensive line's dreadful. It is. I mean, it's a lot on Smith, but Genti hasn't lived up to expectations.
Oh.
And is that Genti? Did he all of a sudden become bad? Was he overrated? Or is it just an awful offensive line? I think it's the latter.
Over under Brock Bowers catches. Over under. If we had a drinking game as to how many times you heard Brock Bowers, how long do you think you could last?
Oh, mid-second quarter, because I think Aikman's going to sing the praises of a tight end tonight. Unless you stop him purposefully.
Not me, man. I got a huge crush on Brock Bowers. You kidding? Huge. Miller and Moulton. David Sampson, Pat Kerwin, scheduled tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Overreaction Monday.
Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not 1 but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
When you're craving the real taste of Chicago, there's only one name to know. Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy. Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton